Okay, we welcome you all back to another recording of the Digenet Podcast. I'm Armand.
Good boy, Raylo, man. What's up?
Tatum over here.
There we go. So let's dive on into it. It is cold, as you can tell.
We diving in the cold ocean right now,
So for
man.
you guys not living in California, California is a wealth of different climates. We are actually not that far apart. I'm probably 60 something miles away from you guys.
Yeah.
And right now up here, it's like 41 degrees, and the app indicates that it feels like 29 degrees. So it's feeling cold up in where I'm at. You guys aren't as cold, but it's still cold, right? What is it where you're at, Raymond? What's your phone telling you?
See, you know what? It's so weird. I do not look at the temperatures. I don't even look at the weather. It just happens.
That's the beauty of LA. You really don't. It's like, yeah, it's
You
not
don't
cold
care.
enough to say, man, how cold is it?
Honestly, you can just look outside and be like, oh, it's cold. It's cold. Let me put on a jacket.
But
It's
compared to
52
our
right now.
friends in the Midwest and the East Coast, this ain't nothing.
This ain't nothing. It's all good. I mean, hey, that's why we live here.
Guys from like New Jersey or Minnesota right now would be wearing shorts here.
Yeah. You know what? When I lived in the South, that was always a thing. Like if it would snow, people from up north would be like, "This is nothing. Like, why is the whole city shut down?" It's like, shut up. I'm gonna take the snow day. They shut it down in the South when it snowed. They shut the whole city down. And you know what? We use that day to just do all type of debauchery. So yeah, I'm
Dude,
gonna take this snow day.
in LA when it rains, people just don't know what's going on. They're like, like the accidents are going through the roof.
Man, you know what? I was with one of my clients today, and you know what? They both just went to sleep, and I was like, "Yep, that's
It's
what's
that.
about to happen today. Yep, do that."
Yeah, I was actually I was thinking about it. I'm thinking, should I light a fire?
You
That's the
should
kind
have.
of cold I'm looking at, right? And I'm thinking, oh, I got this podcast. I'm just gonna waste that fire in an empty room.
Yeah, you didn't have your chestnuts roasting on your open fire, huh?
Dude, do you guys remember that show Silver Spoons?
Yeah.
No.
You don't remember Silver Spoons? Okay, oh,
Ricky Schroeder.
Raymond's a bit younger. So Ricky Schroeder was in this series called. In fact, that's Alfonso Ribeiro's first major thing that I've seen him in. Remember Alfonso Ribeiro from Fresh Prince of Beverly Hills? Carlton?
Probably, yeah,
Yeah, so Carlton was in a series called Silver Spoons before that, playing the same kind of character,
yeah.
playing a basically a white black dude. That was his
Mm-hmm.
character. And it opens up. And I guess Carlton's father, I think, is like the financial advisor of like Rick Schroeder's father. I can't remember. He's something connected to financially. And the thing starts off with, I guess their house had recently burned down. And it's a Christmas episode, and they're singing chestnuts roasting over an open fire. And Carlton's dad starts to cry because that's how they burned their house down.
Yeah.
That's what I always think of. Anyway, okay, so what have we got? What's happening in the world? What's happening in the news? What's happening in finance? Let's talk about what's happening around us right now.
Forgot what it was. Somebody who got kidnapped this morning. I forgot who this was. I saw it on the news all morning this morning. I don't know what the hell.
Kidnapping?
I thought it was propaganda.
A kidnapping?
Yeah, hold on.
Who got kidnapped? I don't think I haven't
It
been.
was some white lady. What was that?
I haven't looked at it recently.
Hold on, let me find out. Hold on.
Was it Samantha Guthrie's mother?
I think that's what it was.
She's
Yes.
been kidnapped for a while.
What do you mean she been kidnapped for a while?
That's
I just the first time I heard of
That's
this.
been going on for a bit. I guess they just confirmed it. Like like that it's she's an older person who disappeared,
Uh-huh.
and I guess now they're confirming it as being a kidnapping.
Well, she taking the Epstein Island. I'm sorry.
Or
Please,
maybe,
I'm sorry. That's not
maybe
supposed to
she's
be
hanging out
fun.
with Maduro.
She hanging out with
She
Maduro.
claims she's kidnapped too.
Yeah. It was crazy because today I walked into a I hate being is this racist? I
Okay,
told one of my
if you have to ask the question, is this racist?
it is
It's
racist.
probably racist. Just like
Because I told one of my
just like anything you say before the word "but," is like not valid. You know, you're an awesome person and I really like you, but yeah.
Well, I don't know, because it's like I was just telling my friend, I was like, look, if you can be from Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Lebanon. If you Muslim, you Muslim. Everybody Muslim. So I went to a Muslim restaurant today, and they had it on CNN today, and I was like, "Who is this
Wait a
white
second.
lady?"
A Muslim, see, I've never heard of a restaurant referred to as a Muslim restaurant.
That's why I feel like is that racist? Like I
Wait,
don't
wait,
know.
wait. Did you define it as a Muslim restaurant?
I mean, they were speaking Arabic in there, and they was walking in there with the hadibs and the turbans.
Well, they would probably call it. No, so let's pretend that it was like a Persian restaurant.
No, it wasn't Persian. It was probably the people I work with is Pakistani.
Okay,
But I don't know.
So they would typically call it a Pakistani restaurant because we don't call Italian restaurants Catholic restaurants.
I mean, but it could have been an Arabian restaurant.
They never call them Arabian. I mean, like typically a restaurant is tied to a specific country, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to a Persian restaurant, or you're going to a Turkish restaurant, or you're going to an Egyptian restaurant.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, walking into Italian restaurants or Irish restaurants don't qualify as Catholic restaurants.
You know what? Yeah. You know, I had to go back and look at it. It's called Al Watuan Halal Todori Restaurant. It's a Pakistani restaurant. So you're right.
Yeah. So I guess the consensus now is that to call it a Muslim restaurant is racist.
It's racist. Please forgive me. Yeah, I don't want to be
racist. Really? Because you're not. It's.
They all speak Arabic.
Well, it's a religion. So is that racist to call? I mean, like is calling an Italian restaurant a Catholic restaurant racist?
It ain't racist. It's ignorant. I'll admit that was ignorant.
Let's own it. We're ignorant. We're not racist.
It was pretty ignorant for me to say that, but yeah.
So from now on, I'm going to tell people I'm not racist. I'm ignorant.
There you go. You know, I'm not racist. I'm just ignorant.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna say that for a lot of people. Ignorant. Yeah, I'm gonna tell a lot of people that I'm like that. He's not. People talk about Trump. He's not racist. He's ignorant.
There we go. That's our new word. Ignorant is the new word.
Yeah, I was pretty ignorant walking into this restaurant. And of course, my client know what we eating. You know what I'm saying? He already told me he was like, I only eat anything halal. I'm like, all right, man, I don't care. We eat everything over here.
What's the difference between halal and kosher? They're pretty much the same thing, right?
I think it is.
I mean, I guess it's just a matter of who's blessing it.
Probably.
In terms of what they can eat, it's the same thing. Like I was just talking, our buddy Chef Ira. Right? Remember how he doesn't eat pork?
He doesn't eat pork?
Remember, I think you were there when we were talking about it once a long time ago. He doesn't, he's a professional chef, but because of his religious background, he himself does not deal with pork, and he doesn't really have a lot of experience cooking it.
But
I found something out. What he is.
What?
He's actually a Seventh-day Adventist.
He went to a school that's up the street from my house. Okay. My mom's house.
Yeah, so SDAs, I guess, don't do the pork thing. They follow a lot of the same rules as Jewish people do.
I mean, it's a Jewish thing, pretty much. Like, Christianity is just
off-branch. That's how it starts in Judaism, right? Yeah, because he was a Jew, right?
Yeah. And you know what? Because it's one of the things like, I mean, I'm not Jewish or Adventist. I follow a different path. But that, like, in the Bible, it explains why you're not supposed to eat pork. Or you're not supposed to eat pork or like scavenger type fish, like catfish. You're not supposed to eat shrimp.
And those bottom feeders, crabs.
And it's kind of like it's vague in the book, but when you realize it's because these animals are like the garbage disposals, the natural garbage disposals, pretty much. And it's like, why would you eat what's coming out of a garbage disposal?
At the same time, too, you got to think. Okay, so this is an alternate take. Think about it. Cooking methodology back then.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing goes for like when in the Philippines, the way we cook things in the Philippines, a lot of the cooking styles developed because of foodborne illness.
Right.
right? Okay, so so we have a thing called longaniza, which is which is Spanish in origin, but it's a sausage, right?
Yeah.
It's a pork sausage typically. And the way we cook longaniza in the Philippines is you'll take it's a link. They're in long links, right? So you'll take those link sausages, you'll put it in a frying pan or a pan,
Mm.
along with about a couple tablespoons of water, and then you will cover that pan and bring that water to a boil, right? So basically,
Mm.
you cook it in that pan covered until that water has evaporated. Okay, after it's evaporated, now if there's not enough fat in the sausage itself, because it'll release fat. If there's not enough, you put some oil inside there, and now you fry it up
Mm.
until you got a nice caramelization on the outside, and then you can
Right.
serve it. You could easily skip the whole like boiling with water thing and just put it inside a pan and cook it up, right? But
Yeah.
the reason we do it that way in the Philippines is we want to be sure that thing is 100% cooked through because it's not made in the most hygienic conditions.
Yeah.
So you
You
want
might
to
have
make sure that
parasites in it.
yeah. But with modern okay, so in the U.S., longaniza is made in hygienic conditions and it's refrigerated the entire time,
Yeah.
and so it's a lot safer. So you don't necessarily have to steam it for 25 or 30 minutes. You can just straight up, you can pop it on a grill if you wanted to. And I've done it that way before. I put it on a grill.
Yeah.
I've done it in a toaster. I mean, and it's great. I mean, actually, honestly, it's even better if you don't steam it all the way through because it doesn't come out overly cooked.
Right.
But that's how Filipinos have always cooked it because in the Philippines, there's not, it depends where you are. You may have areas, you may buy product from someplace that doesn't have refrigeration.
Mm.
And honestly, it's funny. So you go to these markets in the Philippines, and the common person there, even highly educated people, because traditionally they want to meat a certain way, they won't buy it if it's refrigerated. So you walk up to a stand in the market, and the longaniza is hanging in ropes, in links from a hook in the open
Mm.
air, and it was prepared in the open air, and it's never been refrigerated. Right, so that in itself could breed bacteria. But people don't want to buy refrigerated because they don't trust meat that's not quote unquote fresh.
Yeah, I get it.
Even like pork and chicken, when you buy it, they don't want to see their meat in a refrigerated case. They want to see it out because they feel if it's refrigerated, how old is it? That's
Right.
their thought. But so if you think about it, so like 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, or thousands of years ago, even the Jewish folks are like, okay, these animals are the garbage processors, so they're eating crap that maybe you don't want in you,
Right.
right? But modern pork
Where it makes a lot of sense.
is produced a lot differently.
Yeah.
It's not fed garbage. Modern pork is fed. It's fed engineered feeds now.
Yeah.
Catfish are raised in farms.
Yeah. We have farm raised catfish. You may have farm raised shrimp.
Yeah, that's all farm raised now, so it's not fed the same things. So, you know, that may have been the original reasoning behind that group of people not eating those kinds of products.
Yeah.
'Cause it just
And
makes sense.
I get your thought process with it too. But that's why a lot of times I can like kind of justify it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there are some people who just gonna stick to it.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because like one of the beautiful things about the Bible is like a lot of things that applied back then still apply now. You know what I'm saying? What it's actually telling you. That's why I love the way I was growing up. I was raised. Even though I have like a lot of different viewpoints on things now, because a lot of things are I'll just say a lot of like religion is a lot like kind of engineered a little bit now, but a lot of like if you read the book there's a lot of things within the book that are like everything is like still prevalent to this day. I mean, because yeah, you could say like the cooking process is a little bit different, but how does that kind of like correlate to like your cholesterol or like to weight loss or whatever? You show me a fat person, you pretty much watching a person that eats pork. I've never seen a fat person not eat pork.
yeah, I guess. But here, so
I ain't never seen a halal fat
okay,
person.
so here's one thing that I've discovered, and this is up for debate too, right?
Uh,
I don't think that it's I think that the plague on mankind
Mm.
currently is modern technology has converted our diets to high carbohydrate diets,
Yeah,
and
that's true.
really the okay, so sugar is used extensively in a lot of the things that we consume,
Yeah.
right? And highly processed. So there was, and I've talked about this in a different recording. I was watching this YouTube video,
Mm.
and the goal of the video was to compare equipment, really, and they were talking
Mm.
about camping. So these two guys were going to go camping, like like bring your crap in a backpack and stay in the wilderness for like 6 days camping. Okay, so they started off the first two, and they were going to compare camping 50 years apart. So their first 2 days was camping like it was 1925.
Mm.
Okay, and then the next 2 days was camping like it was 1975, and then the final 2 days was camping like it was 2025, right? And the first 2 days they were using all this authentic gear, so it looked like, like they looked like Indiana Jones, and they're out there camping.
Mm.
And when they switched from 1925 to 1975, the evaluation at the end was the gear itself in 1975 was so much better than the gear from 1925. The shoes were more supportive, they're more comfortable. They were able to, they didn't, the gear didn't tire them out. Okay, the clothing was lighter and it kept them warmer, right? But their other comment was the food, the difference, and because they kept the food authentic too.
Mm.
And the difference between 1925 and 1975 was the food in 1925 was more balanced, right? So they had cured meats, they had canned corned beef, they had hardtack. Hardtack is like extremely tough biscuits that you have to soak in liquid to make them edible, right? But that's so it lasts a long time. Okay.
Mm.
And then when they went to 1975, everything was now processed and keeps forever. Now you had sliced loaf bread. The bread they had in the 1925 portion was real bread, like, it was artisanally made bread that didn't have any preservatives, right? And they said that the food was so much better in 25. And if you looked at the nutritional mix, 1975, it was mostly made of carbs. Everything was carbohydrates, right? And if you look at the obesity numbers, Americans, well, we'll focus on Americans because that's where we're from. That's what we know. Modern Americans have obesity rates that are incredibly high compared to Americans back in the day,
Right.
right? And that's because of what is easily available to eat, right?
Yeah.
Modern Americans eat a lot of crap. Like we eat a lot. We have a lot of carbs in our diet, and we're not saying carbs are bad. We're saying that the mix of things, because both 1925 and 1975 and 2025 in this experiment had fat, protein, and carbohydrate. It's just the proportions changed, right? So the food that they were getting in 1975 and beyond was just not as healthy as it was back then. They also said that the flavors were much better back in the early times. Like
Yeah.
one of the things they had was cardboard box mac and cheese. So they
Mhm.
they brought mac and cheese on their camping trip, which people would do, right? Because it's
Yeah.
doable. Right? You could never make mac and cheese in 1925 without a bunch of real cheese. I mean, like, you have to have varieties of real cheese. You have to have milk and all this stuff to make it, right?
Mhm.
But come around to now, yeah, dude, it's in a box. And what turns into the sauce has a lot of carbs in it. It's a lot of sugar in that.
Mm.
So yeah, I really think it's really about processed foods is what makes us unhealthy. Not necessarily because people ate a lot of pork back in pioneer days,
Yeah.
right? Every day breakfast had bacon because bacon is cured pork belly, right? Bacon can travel across the frontier.
Yeah.
Like, a side of bacon is cured. It'll last you weeks. Well, maybe not weeks, but it'll last you a while Like, you can't bring fresh pork with you. What you can bring is you can bring cured whole side bacon and slice off what you need every day for breakfast. And
Yeah.
they ate that a lot. So I don't really think that it's about pork. I just think that let's say fat, a fat person today, they just eat anything and a lot of it.
Yeah. Because I had to think about. I was like, I've ever seen a fat vegetarian. I was like, yeah, I had a fat vegetarian
I've
friend.
seen fat vegetarians
Yeah, I've
because
seen fat.
vegetarians can, there's a lot of snack foods that are vegetarian or vegan that contain a lot of sugar.
Right.
It's not forbidden for them.
Mm-hmm. Eat a lot of fries, a lot of carbs.
Yeah, and actually, that's the problem with vegetarian diets and vegan diets is that you struggle to find protein sources. So the majority
Yeah.
of what you eat is carbs, and vegans and vegetarians who eat whole food diets, that's
Mhm.
better. Because their carbs are natural. They're going to come from vegetables.
Yeah.
If they're whole food diets, if you get a vegan or vegetarian avoiding processed foods, they're going to be pretty healthy. I mean, they're going to
Yeah.
lack protein, but they're not going to be eating a bunch of junk. They're going to be eating like a lot of whole vegetables.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can get somebody who's vegan or vegetarian who doesn't do that. They just basically, as long as it doesn't have meat, they'll eat it, right?
Yeah.
And a ton of those chips, they can eat,
Yeah. You
right?
know, this is gonna kind of sound kind of wacky. It's something that like I saw on a YouTube video, and it did make you think, right? Just going back to the biblical thing, right? So it was a YouTube video where they were trying to pretty much the guy was trying to get across. He was trying to pretty much not I ain't gonna say trying to make a point, but he was trying to investigate if the God of the Bible, the Jewish God, was a dragon.
What
So he was trying to say that the God of the Jewish Bible,
was a
of the
dragon?
Torah, was a dragon
Okay.
because pretty much it was like in the Bible it talks a lot about them making sacrifices to God, right? So in like pretty much in this explanation, it was a couple times where they'll make these sacrifices, right? And they will put it on like a burning fire. They'll
Yeah, yeah,
chop up a goat or ox or something like that and put it on, and they'll say it will make a savory, sweet like smell to God, right?
yeah. And the smoke rises to the heavens, and
Yeah. So like pretty much there's the tabernacle. The tabernacle was a huge tent that the Israelites like when they were like in the wilderness for 40 days, well 40 years pretty much. This tabernacle traveled with them. It's like a big old tent, right?
yeah,
And they said that that's where Moses will go inside and talk to God,
yeah,
right? And they said that there was smoke that would come out of it, not just from the altar, but like he would talk to him, right? And there were several instances where, like, there's a part in the Bible where, like, I guess God tells Moses, like, I'm not going to show you my face, but I'll show you my back. So, like,
Wait, now
I forgot.
I just want to make sure. Okay, so you're getting this from some guy on YouTube. Did you read that in the Bible? Okay. I got to admit.
Now, I read about the tabernacle.
Okay,
I read about the sacrifices. I get what he's deducing from.
well, how about the showing your back
There
thing?
is a, huh?
How about the showing him his back thing?
I forgot what verse it is. I'll find this verse. But
Okay.
pretty much he was trying to say that inside this tabernacle, it had to be like a dragon because it's like, like when you really think about why did you need to sacrifice a goat? Maybe it's because they was burning the goat to cook it for this
Hold on.
dude to
Okay,
eat it.
wait. Let's put a counterpoint to that. Okay.
Uh,
Now I gotta say to all those watching us, right? Among the three of us, I mean, like we're all I guess we're all Christians, right?
uh,
I'm a basically non-practicing Catholic, right? Is what
uh,
I grew up in the Catholics basically grew up in the religion. We don't become. I mean, we don't choose it. We were born into it, right?
right.
For most of us, at least. Okay. I am in no way, shape, or form an expert in religion. I haven't read the Bible since college, and the reason why I say that is because I did a entire project on the Bible in a literature course, right? I addressed the Bible as literature rather than as a religious work. So I had to read it from, I didn't read the whole thing. I read large portions of it for that. And that's the last time I read it. Okay. So disclaimer, we are not experts in this at all. Okay. So you guys want to put comments in there about how we're wrong. Yeah, we probably are. A lot of what we're going to talk about today is going to be regurgitated from other people. So now here's my counterpoint to that. Okay. So let's talk about the earliest sacrifice mentioned in the Bible. What's the earliest sacrifice mentioned in the Bible?
I want to say
super famous.
What? No, not Abraham.
Nope.
Isaac.
Nope. Way before.
Which one?
Cain and Abel.
Well, Cain and Abel wasn't a sacrifice. He just killed his brother.
Listen. Okay. Why was Cain pissed at Abel?
Because he was better than him.
No. God demanded So Cain tended to animals.
Yeah.
Okay. He was basically, if anything back then, he was probably a shepherd, right?
Shepherd, hunter, something like that. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, no, he had flocks of sheep. Probably is what he had. Goats and sheep. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably what he had, because those are the animals that people took care of back then.
Right.
Okay. Abel was an agriculturist. He grew crops.
Right.
And God asked them both for a sacrifice. And Cain, butchered his prime, some of his best animals, popped them on the pyre, right? And Abel did the same thing with his grains. And I guess wind conditions didn't favor Cain because his smoke didn't rise. God, turns out, like, he interpreted it as God was not pleased with his sacrifice, and Abel's was pleasing.
Right.
That's why Cain became butthurt.
Yeah, he lost.
He lost the sacrifice.
He lost the sacrifice games.
Yeah. So you look at that. The sacrifice game, God preferred grains over meat.
Probably, yeah.
See, there you go. So like you were saying that, that God demands meat as sacrifice, but that's not, the Bible doesn't support that. Even though God does want, for example, what's his name? Who is it? Abraham, who was going to sacrifice his son, but instead God presented him with a ram caught with his horns caught in some bushes.
Isaac and I want to say it's Isaac and Jacob.
I think it's Abraham. Abraham, Isaac.
Abraham, Isaac, yeah.
Yeah, so Abraham was going to sacrifice Isaac, right? At the last minute, like, his hand was stayed, and all of a sudden there was a ram caught inside the bushes and stuff. And
he sacrificed the ram.
So God said, "Hey, man, I'm kidding about your kid, dude.
Yeah. I just wanted to see how far you was going to go.
I just want to see if you do it. Here's a ram instead, right?"
Yeah. You got this, huh?
But thousands of years before, two brothers gave up a meat sacrifice and a vegetable sacrifice, and God, at that point in time, was in the mood for vegetables.
Yeah. I mean, but see, look, I had to, because I know I read it. I just have to find it out. So it says in the book of Exodus, "Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." This is this was the point. I just remember this was the point that the YouTuber was bringing up.
Okay.
And the whole thing was like, he had other points where he was like, because it's fire being brought down from heaven, all types of random stuff. Where I'm like, I hear what you're saying, but I don't think God was a dragon. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe he was a dragon. But he made. I don't know.
Well,
I think
God has chosen to. Now we're taking this straight from a book, right? We're not saying that this is what is, right? But according to what we've read in this book, which is the Bible, God has chosen to appear in many forms, right? Like he appeared as a column of fire, didn't he once?
He appeared a lot.
Now God stopped appearing after a certain period of time. I mean, in the olden days, in Moses' time and Abraham's time, God spoke to these folks directly.
Yeah, that's why they
according
made it
to the
seem
book,
like he
right?
spoke to him. Yep.
You actually had conversations with God,
Mm.
right? And he'd tell you either what he wanted or if he was happy with what you gave him, right?
Right.
God ceased to talk to us after a while, right? And supposedly that tabernacle. So the only people that they called it the holiest of holies, right?
Right.
Only people allowed in there were, I guess, what's the
I,
term? The highest.
I think
High,
only in that time they had the Levites who were like the people who tended to it,
I think those.
but
I
I
think the
think
Levites was
only
actually a group of people. I think that was actually a race of people.
no, it wasn't. The Levites isn't a race. Like there's Levi was a son of Jacob who became what was it? Jacob? Yeah, Jacob who became Israel. Remember God changed his name. It was like you're going to be Israel now. And then he had 12 sons. One of his sons was Levi. So the descendants of Levi
Yeah,
are
yeah.
pretty
So
much
remember, these are the tribes of Israel. So this
yeah.
it's an actual group of people. It's a race of people.
Is a group of people.
It's
Yeah,
a race of
right. All
people.
right.
So it's not a class of people. So like
No, it's not a class.
they're not a class of priestly people. They're an actual
Group.
group of people, right?
Yeah.
So
And these group of people, those are the ones who tended to the temple.
yeah. So but those who are allowed into the holiest of holies could actually commune with God, speak to God, right?
But I think the only ones who went in there were I think it was only 3 people. I think it was only,
It was limited.
yeah, it was I know for sure it was Moses. I know it was his brother Aaron. And I think that may have only been it.
Okay, so let's overlay some practicality to this, okay?
Uh,
When you've got a group of people wandering the desert, right? So
uh,
even if you only know this from movies, right?
mm,
You know that the Jews wandering the desert had some friction between themselves, right? They
oh,
were
yeah, yeah, yeah.
constantly they were constantly there's got to be some sort of a battle for control, right? So you got a leader who's taking you out there, and things aren't going his way,
Right.
right? So periodically, the people who followed him out there are saying, "Damn, we're better off back in Egypt," right?
That's what they were saying.
Yeah. So he's constantly being challenged, right? So think about that. If this really happened, you as that leader would find ways to keep your people in line, right? One of those ways is that God speaks to you and not to them, and only to
Right.
you, right? Think about that. Could you be just making that up to keep them in line? Like, for example,
That's the whole mystery of it.
see, every time he spoke to God, he never spoke to him in front of them, right?
No.
He had to wander up, was it Mount Sinai, to encounter the burning bush?
Yeah.
So he wanders up there, and there's this burning bush that's burning but not being consumed by the flame,
Right.
right? And it's God talking to him through the bush, right? And how do we know that? Because he came back down and told them that.
Yeah. But the
They
only
didn't know he
thing
was there.
when he came back down with was supposed to be the 10 Commandments,
Well,
where
that's
it's
a
like
different time. That's a different time. Okay, so let's talk about that. So he goes up there, he talks to this bush, he comes back there and tells them this bush is pissed off at them because they're fucking around.
right.
Why are you guys doing this stuff? The bush is pissed. What bush? The burning one that was talking, not being consumed. You saw that? I did. Was anybody else there? No. Okay. Then he goes back up again, right? And this time he comes back with these stone tablets. How long was he gone? I'm not sure. Could he have carved these stone tablets himself? Possibly.
I mean, but
Right.
it's the content of what he came back down
And then he
with.
comes back down, and now all the Israelites are worshiping. I think it's Baal they're worshiping.
Yeah, they're worshiping a gold calf.
Yeah.
Something's crazy.
And so and that's the crazy part. So he's got these tablets, right? Which he now throws down. And he's pissed off. He's like, I worked so hard to carve these tablets. I come down, they're worshiping calf. Oh man, boom, right? And so, I mean, at which point in time, what was on the tablets? Now he can make shit up.
I mean,
he's already broken them, right? So the
Yeah.
Ark of the Covenant contains the broken pieces of the tablets of the Ten Commandments, right?
yeah,
No one actually saw what was written on them because he broke them before they could read them,
right.
right? So now he says, okay, this is what's there. These are the 10, right? So, I mean, there's argument back and forth regarding, it's like, this sounds sketchy. It sounds like Moses was just gaslighting the folks.
I mean, like how I look at it, and this is just This is me. You can take it with a grain of salt, or you can really believe. But I look at like like that's why I keep bringing up the contents of what was on there. Those 10 laws, if people follow them, we will have a lot less problems in these worlds.
Of course. I mean,
A lot of less problems if
actually,
we follow those 10
Ten
laws.
Commandments are more of the. It's more like the 10 common sense things.
But guess what? No, a lot of people don't follow.
Because
A lot of people don't follow.
Most people don't follow common sense stuff. Think about it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Watch YouTube for like 15 minutes and common sense goes out the window.
Totally goes out the window.
Right? It's just that, common sense things, okay? It makes sense. I mean, all those things, none of those. Okay, so there's a few that are kind of specific. Like, it's like, where'd that come from, right? Thou shalt not kill. That's kind of that's a kind of common sense one.
Yeah.
Right? Not coveting your neighbor's wife. That kind of makes sense.
Super common
That's
sense.
kind of common sense, right? The whole that thou shalt have no other God before me. That's like that sounds kind of needy, but
I don't think it's needy. Just think about this one God. But when you think about the other gods that people worship, that's kind of wild.
Well, no, but back then it wasn't, right? Remember, back in those days, there was a God for every little thing that happened.
Right.
There was probably a God of of ingrown toenails.
And look, that's what I'm saying. Just have this one God. Don't try to add no extras to it. You'll have a lot less problems.
But we say that now because that's been around for a bit. But when that was first introduced, that was revolutionary. It was so revolutionary that entire cultures rebelled against the idea.
Oh yeah, and guess what?
Okay, so what are one of the earliest examples? That's called monotheism.
Ancient Egypt, Akhenaten.
Ancient Egypt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who's Akhenaten's son?
King Tut.
Yes. Okay, so Akhenaten is the forgotten pharaoh. What happened? So everybody knows King Tut. I mean, King Tut's. I mean, that's a big thing. Tutankhamun, right? Tutankhamun, right? Whatever how you pronounce it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a big thing. His father was erased from history. Because his father, when he took control as pharaoh, he converted their national religion to the worship of, I forget what his name was. He went to monotheism. So instead of worshiping Anubis, Ra, Set, and all the other Egyptian gods, he eliminated the pantheon of Egyptian gods and made it one god they worshipped. Okay, they had no choice but to worship that one God because their pharaoh said to, and their pharaoh, and oddly enough, the pharaoh is supposed to be a living God. Okay, so I guess in that moment, by saying there's only one God, he indicated he's not a God anymore. Whatever, I mean, he probably never thought of it that way, but that's what I think when I hear it. So Akhenaten, that it was him, right? Akhenaten made the whole country worship a single God now. And they had to while he was alive. Okay, when he died, they went back to a pantheon of gods, and they erased his likeness and his name from every monument in the country. So he didn't exist. Yeah. So that's why modern Egyptologists didn't even know about him, because there was no record of the guy.
But eventually they found out about it.
They found out about it later on. I mean, through more deep searching, they found out, and that's when they realized. See, so the concept of worshiping one God is modern. In the old days, the idea of one God and that's proof. The idea of one God to an ancient peoples is almost blasphemous.
I mean, except the Jewish. I mean, except the ancient Jewish people, because at the end of the day, the ones who really.
But these Egyptians are older than the Jews. I mean, their religion, it predates Judaism.
Yeah.
Okay, so
it predates Judaism, but it doesn't. I don't think it predates the Hebrews are older.
Remember, Judaism is the Hebrews.
Judaism came after. It's to me, I look at it as an offshoot, because it's Judaism, Christianity, all of that.
The Hebrews are a people.
Yeah.
Judaism is a faith.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right.
Judaism is the faith of the Hebrew people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So really, I mean, and you got to realize the Hebrew people are not a big group of people.
No, it's very
They're
small.
a pretty small group of people. So, well, I mean, because there's difficulties tracing back historical
Yeah.
Hebrews. There's a lot of difficulties,
Yeah.
and I'll say this, okay? This is really hotly contested right now. There is no proof at all that the Jews were ever the slaves of the Hebrews. I'm sorry, that the Hebrews, the Jews, were ever the slaves of the Egyptians.
Yeah.
The pyramids, according to Egyptian records, were not made by slave labor.
No, it wasn't made by slave labor.
Okay,
I totally believe that.
and also not by the Hebrews either.
I don't think, like, honestly, I don't know how we make the pyramids. I don't think anybody knows.
Well, but that's the thing. The Old Testament. See, Exodus. What is Exodus about?
Exodus is about them living in Egypt.
And
It don't say anything about the pyramids, though.
no, yeah, and escaping from Egypt.
Yeah.
They claimed to be the slaves of the Egyptians.
Yeah, but them building the pyramids was all made up, though. They were in Egypt, but I think the pyramids was there, and they were just there. Like, I don't think anybody knows. Like, I look at it like this: the Egyptians were just there, and the pyramids was already there when they got there. I don't think we know what the pyramids are. I think it predates everything.
Not okay. So we should actually spend some time actually looking into the facts. But but that's the point of contention, is that according to ancient Egyptian records, the Hebrews were never there.
I can see that.
And remember. So what what is Exodus all about? Remember, the Hebrews tried to leave Egypt, right? And the Pharaoh
Right.
wouldn't let. I mean, like they were effectively slaves, right? Because
Yeah.
what kind of person can't leave a country? Well, nowadays it's different. Okay.
Right.
Nowadays it's different, okay? Because other countries won't let you into other countries, right?
True.
The country will let you leave, but no other country will. If you let's say if you're in Mexico, right, and no other country will accept your people going there, your country will let you leave. Other countries won't let you get there, right?
Right.
But the Egyptians, the ancient Hebrews, according to Exodus, were different, right? They
Yeah.
were in Egypt and they were not allowed to leave. So the pharaohs were not letting them leave. And it took
Right.
essentially a war of plagues to convince the pharaohs to let them leave. The pharaoh.
Right.
Okay. And also according to Exodus, what was Moses?
Moses was he was the leader.
Well, but what
Was
was
he was one of them.
he was a Hebrew.
Oh, he was he was an
adopted
Egyptian.
by the Egyptians. I mean,
Yeah.
essentially he was the pharaoh's adopted brother,
Yeah.
and he was an officer, a member of the court, right?
Yeah. He grew up with
He
them.
grew up with them,
Those were his people.
and he was the one leading these people. So he was the guy calling when eventually we found out his heritage. He sided with the Hebrews, and he brought God's wrath down to get them freed.
Let my people
That
go.
doesn't exist anywhere in other history except for
And but
oral tradition.
the whole thing is, and I think you you brought something up that I never knew about. These people are known for erasing history.
What's that?
You just said how they erased everything about Octagon.
But that's a lot to erase from other countries too.
Please, I mean, if they can do that and erase a whole person wanting to have monotheism, why wouldn't you erase what happened with you and the Hebrews? Like that never happened.
Well, no,
I can see that.
no. But the thing is this though.
Mm.
They would have also have to erase a history of all those supernatural events.
Shit, why wouldn't you?
That seems like a lot. I mean, like, and it's not okay. So what they erased was what appears on public monuments, right?
Yeah.
Public monuments are all. It's like you don't find public monuments then like you do now. Public monuments now are erected by regular people for regular things, oftentimes, right?
Right.
Okay. Back then, public monuments were all erected to give glory to the pharaohs.
Right.
It was only about them, right? You would think that oral tradition would have carried forward in that country about, dude, if it freaking started, if all the rivers turned to blood, and was it frogs?
It was
I'm not quite
frogs.
up on
Frogs,
my
It was
locusts.
pestilence, locusts. The river turning to blood. They had they ended up coming up with boils.
did,
It was a whole bunch of
didn't
the
things fall out of the sky? I
firstborn.
mean, didn't like like comets fall from the sky? As what was one of them?
I don't think a comment, but I know the
Quentin, bring it up. What are they? It's seven, right? Seven
you know,
plagues.
seven plague. I know the firstborn child
Okay, that's the
of
last one. Okay,
everybody.
so
Yeah,
that's another one. Okay, so and that's something that is actually celebrated by the Jewish people today. That is
Passover.
right? They're not celebrating the death of the firstborn children. They're basically
That you got passed over.
they're reliving. I mean, they're doing like a reenactment of the of being passed over by the angel of death.
Right.
Right, that's what Passover is. You'd have thought that the common people of Egypt would have carried that forward in oral tradition, because that's some pretty scary crap.
I think they probably wouldn't have,
I think they
just
would have.
because. I mean, I like, you know, and like it is up for debate.
I mean,
I like I didn't.
from a governmental standpoint, maybe,
Uh,
but that, I mean, like, we have, I mean, we have oral story. I mean, like, a lot of what we do as a culture is influenced by things that have happened, right?
hmm
The Egyptian people would have probably, if that stuff had happened to them, that would have influenced their culture.
uh,
Okay, but I mean, and that's why, the same thing with Jesus himself, right?
mm,
There's all these productions of the historical. They're trying to find Jesus mentioned in history books, right? They're trying to find
mm,
Jesus mentioned in historical documents.
right,
Like, one thing they mentioned was that the Romans were extremely careful record keepers,
right,
and the Romans would have had nothing to do with, because what happened to Jesus was really just infighting among the Jewish people. The
right,
Romans
right, right.
didn't shape that in any way. They didn't. They were not. In fact, it was like a pain in the ass to them.
Yeah,
It
like
was like,
it was like a criminal. Like they looked at him as a criminal.
well, they
They had
looked
the
at it.
cops kill him.
They looked at. I mean, it's the Pharisees that saw Jesus as a criminal. The Romans
Yeah,
could care less.
yeah,
It's like they're there just keeping the peace. It's like, man, why are these freaking Jewish folks all in arms about this? Uh,
yeah. He went and turned over some tables in the temple, and y'all want to have him killed.
yeah, it's like
That's it's wild, but it's like,
but
dang.
now what gets wild is that you look at records from back then, and okay, so what the Romans do document, the thing that they did document was what it was the death of the disciples. So the 12 disciples went out over the years, and they spread the word, and
Yeah,
those guys died. Quite a few of them got martyred by Romans
real bad.
eventually, because their religion got big, right? And
Yep.
now they're not. Now they're a pain in the ass of the Romans, and they're in record. There are records of them.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's records of these guys, right?
Yeah.
In fact, it had become such a big thing by the time that I think it's when Paul eventually died. I think he died in Rome.
Yeah.
He actually died in the where the Vatican stands now.
Yeah.
Is where he's actually buried. Right, so
That's
those
crazy.
guys are documented. Some of them, at least.
Yeah. I
Jesus
think like
himself, not so much.
I read like somewhere it's one. It's I think it's only one disciple where they don't document him dying. It's only one. Everybody else is documented.
Yeah, so they appear in historical records. The rest of them do. Jesus, not so much.
Yeah. And I mean, at the end of the day, like it's historical. You know what I'm saying? Like with the faith, I get it. Like while a lot of people can deny it, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people can poke holes and be like, you shouldn't believe or anything like that. I get it. It's just I've had my own personal experiences of why I believe in this faith. You know what I'm saying? Even if I had to, I think the only thing that I can tell you from the book that I've read that we see today is the whole covenant of the rainbow. Like when God said, I will, this is a covenant When you see a rainbow, it's a covenant that I'll never flood the earth again with water. You know what I'm saying? Or never destroy the earth. You constantly see rainbows. You know what I'm saying? Like, rainbow is a real thing.
No, I mean, like,
And you see them after it
rainbows are a real
rains.
phenomenon. I mean, like, we know why it happens.
Yeah.
It's light passing through moisture in the
Water.
air. We know why
Right.
it happens, right?
Yeah, we know why it happens. Yeah.
And
But it's just interesting that it happens after rainy days, right?
no, it's not interesting. It's that's really only there has to be enough moisture in there to create them.
Yeah. I mean, you'll see it in a sprinkler or something like that, but it happens with moisture.
But
Right.
okay, so here's the thing I'm talking about. Like, so Jesus not making the historical record can kind of make sense because the things Jesus did were small. I mean, like, the people that he addressed were tiny. Yeah, the Sermon on the Mount supposed to have a lot of folks there, but that's like a one-day festival popping. So think about this: if Coachella happened 2,000 years ago, how long? I mean, like, Coachella happening now is covered by social media and the news, right? So the world knows it's happening, right? If Coachella happened 300 years ago, you wouldn't get news of it happening until months later.
Right.
Right. So Jesus only did one really huge thing. That was the Sermon on the Mount. Everything else was kind of tiny.
Everything was amongst like smaller groups of people.
Yeah. So Jesus being overlooked by history makes sense because it's just one dude. Basically, he's out there evangelizing. It makes sense that there's no record of him, right?
Yeah.
But the stuff that happened in Exodus was massive.
Yeah.
Right? An entire city entire country engulfed by plagues. Pretty massive.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like the Great Flood. Right? The biblical flood. That we don't even know when that happened, right? That happened in prehistory. That happened in ancient prehistory.
Right.
Right. Probably even before the bronze. I mean, it's ancient. Right.
Big ancient.
But the times of the Hebrews Exodus, that's happening in documented history, right? There were large civilizations already.
Yeah.
That happened in a time when records were being kept.
Right.
So that's why that is semi-dubious, because you look at it and say, how did this stuff not get recorded? Okay, so wait, what are the plagues, Quentin? Did you bring them up?
You got 10
There's 10 plagues?
in order. Water to blood. The Nile, the lifeblood of Egypt, turned to blood, killing fish. Number 2, frogs. Swarms of frogs invaded homes and cities. Number 3, gnats and lice. Dust turned into gnats or lice biting people and animals. Then you have 4, flies. Massive swarms of insects covered the land. 5, livestock pestilence. A disease killed Egyptian cattle, horses, and sheep. 6 was boils. Festering, itching boils affecting both people and animals. 7, hail. Destructive hail and fire ruined crops and trees. 8,
hail and fire? Okay.
Number 8, locusts. Swarms consumed all remaining vegetation left by the hail. Number 9, darkness. Thick, total darkness covered Egypt for 3 days. And 10, death of the firstborn. The final, most severe plague that saw the death of all firstborn males, sparing only the Israelites who marked their doors with blood.
Okay. So what I'm going to say about this is going to come from pure ignorance. Okay. I'm saying, this is just entire speculation. Okay. Just speculation. Those first few, I can see how those can make sense as a natural thing. Well, all of them could be natural. Okay. But you think, man, that's a lot of crap to happen to one country all at once, right? That's pretty bad, right? But if you think about it, right? What conditions can turn an entire river red?
Fish, dead fish?
No, okay, so
Some
in
type
modern
of
times,
algae?
it happened, I think I saw this happened in Lagos, in Nigeria, right? That's an algae bloom. Some sort of, like the pH, the balance of the water somehow was off. It could be due to farming, so agriculture, some form of runoff fed one form of algae. I mean, and that could cause that, right? And
No, I've seen a History Channel, like because it was just TV. But I
yeah,
remember it was a History Channel, like what you're trying to describe and how to. They had a History Channel, um, like
program about
special.
that, right?
Yeah, where they like 'cause exactly what you said. It was like an algae bloom. Like some of these things make sense
So
to where it can
no, so
happen.
now I'm not. So let's connect them, right? An
Um,
algae bloom would make the water possibly undrinkable. It's also gonna an algae bloom could benefit certain species and kill others, right? So
mhm.
what may have happened in this algae bloom is that the natural predators of these frogs got eliminated.
Yeah,
So the algae bloom could have resulted in an explosion in the frog population, right?
right,
And all of a sudden the frogs are overrunning the area, right? And
right.
back then, it may not have been swarms of frogs. It may have been just a couple. I mean, like, think about it. Ancient people sees like a whole bunch of frogs that shouldn't be there, right? It's not like they're like 3 feet deep, right? It could be a smaller number than we think it is. But anyway,
Yeah, it
so
just more frogs
more
appearing. It
frogs
was like, where these
than
frogs
normal, right?
come
All of a
from?
sudden you see, but the increase in frogs, right, could have brought about those insects, right? So the frogs are dying. So the frogs have increased, and there's too many of them, so they're dying off, right? Which could result in the flies. Flies are one of them, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
flies, gnats, and mice.
Yeah. See, so now you've got a big jump in like in these vermin, right? So then they're gonna die, and of course, dead frogs yield more fly because the flies can reproduce on all the dead flesh, blah blah blah, and of course, unsanitary conditions could yield to skin problems.
And
So you got the
livestock
boils
death.
going on, right? Which could also pass on to the animals. So those few, I can see how they could be interrelated. Just to hear them, you can think how they could be interrelated.
But look,
But then you
this
got
the
the
thing
freaking
though.
hail.
No, but this is the thing though. Just imagine this stuff keep happening, and this guy keep walking in like, "Let my people go." It's gonna keep happening. Next thing you know, like the frogs come one day, you be like, "All right, let my people go." It's gonna keep happening. Next day, locusts come back. Let my people go, and each and every
Yeah.
time you're like, "No, get out of here." It's just locusts. Oh, get out of here. It's just lights. Man, it's just a hailstorm. Okay,
So
okay.
the
You know
death
what
of
I'm saying?
the death of the firstborn is the one case. So
Now
all
the
of
death
them,
of the firstborn, be like, man,
all of
get
them
these
you can
people up out of
explain,
here.
right? Or like all of them you can kind of explain as natural phenomena, right?
Right.
But it's like hail. Hail comes along, right? We've seen pretty bad hail.
Yeah.
Um,
Now you probably didn't have you didn't have no hail in ancient Egypt. You probably looked up and was like, what is this? You know, you never seen it ever before. It's just like how we had snow a couple years ago
yeah.
on the beach.
So what was after hail?
Oh, after hail was locusts. Then you
Okay,
got dark.
locusts happen. Okay, so that has happened even
That
recently.
definitely happened.
That I've seen that before. Okay,
Really?
This is crazy. So I was in Moore Park, Simi Valley Moore Park area, in like 1996 maybe, and I was okay. So I was outside of a theater. There's an empty field close by, and I was doing something in an empty field. I can't remember what the hell it was. It was something that I shouldn't be doing, and I see I see like a cloud coming in the distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so I was in my car. I had a Miata, right? And I was rapidly trying to like put the top up because I realized because they start smacking my windshield, they're freaking grasshoppers or something like a grasshopper. I'm like, oh shit, locust swarm, boom, and it turns. And so there's a lot of farming up that way back in those days, and so that was a swarm of grasshoppers / locusts that was going from farm to farm.
Um,
And so it wasn't huge. I mean, like it was big. I mean, like the cloud probably the size of like a Walmart. It looked the size of a Walmart. That's how big it looked to me.
it was grasshoppers and locusts.
Yeah, it was. And
Flying
when
insects.
and when they surrounded my car, so after I got the top up, I just sat there like I turned the vents off and shit, right? And it got dark. I mean, they literally blotted out the sun for like a good maybe minute before they passed over me.
Mm.
They just whizzed right by, like like none of them. A couple were on the car afterwards, because they just happened to they hit the car and they were sitting there, right? But none of them like grabbed the car and tried to eat their way in, right?
Oh, okay.
So I've seen a locust swarm, and it's pretty trippy. It is pretty trippy to see.
So they had locust swarm, they have hail, they have lice, they have flies, they have the algae bloom. What and then, but the darkness that
Okay, the
probably would have been
darkness,
like,
the 3 day darkness. Okay, so the two that are kind of out there, the two that you can't really explain: 3 day darkness, the death of the firstborn. Okay, those are the two that what could have. There's no such thing as a 3 day eclipse, and even if there is an eclipse, have you guys ever experienced one? It never really gets dark. It
yeah,
just looks weird, right? It
yeah.
looks
I
like
mean, like I know, and like I guess I need to go experiences, but I know like what in like Alaska they'll have like a week
no,
of
no,
just
no.
darkness.
That's different. See, that's because okay, so that would be an explanation. But in order for that to happen, the Earth has to be thrown off its axis. So basically, what happens in Alaska is that the Earth, the way that it faces, is that that portion of the world doesn't get any sunlight.
Yeah.
It's permanently night for 30 days.
Mm.
That's what it is. It's nighttime for 30 days. That's like you know how days and nights get longer for us. During the summer, the nights are short, the days are long, and during
Mm.
winter, nights are longer, right? The further north you get, the more dramatic that is.
Mm.
Okay, so that's why in Alaska, you get entire periods where it's either daytime for a month or it's nighttime for a month.
Mm.
That's pretty freaky, right? So in order for that to happen to Egypt, basically the Earth has to be thrown off its axis. Only for 3 days though. That's weird.
Mm.
So how to explain that? I don't know about that one. Okay. Another explanation for that is remember what is it? What's that island that got that had major? It's called. It is called. What is it called now? It's in the Greek island chains.
Galapagos? What's that?
No. There's an island that there's a massive. They're trying to blame the they're trying to blame the flood on that too.
Mm.
Mykonos, I think it is.
Uh-huh.
Is it Mykonos?
Uh-huh.
Look up volcanic explosion, Mykonos. I think that's what it's called. But anyway, so a volcanic explosion large enough throws enough particulate into the atmosphere to block out the sun for a while, if you're close enough to it.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I thought that was Pompeii, or
No,
but
no, Pompeii wasn't that big
uh,
compared to this. This was such a huge explosion that it destroyed an island entirely. This wasn't just an eruption. This was an explosion.
right.
So an entire island disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And what's left there now is it's like the islands that are there are like the crater rim of this thing. It's massive.
Right.
It's incredibly big. You find it, Quentin?
No.
Put a volcanic explosion in the Mediterranean or volcanic explosion near
In
Greece.
Greece.
Raymond's got a visitor.
I hate this.
What is that,
It's
Raymond?
because
Is that a fly? What is that?
there's a fly. It's because I need to. My room has been crazy lately. It looks clean right here, but out here it's crazy. I've been.
I'm gonna bring up a new tab here. Hold on. Where'd it go? There it is. Which
Excuse
one,
me.
Quentin?
Recent seismic activity in the Mediterranean near Greece has focused on the Santorini.
Santorini. That's it. Okay, we didn't have to look it up. Okay, it's called Santorini now. I don't know what it was called back then. But the Santorini explosion was devastating. It was, of course, it's ancient history. So type it in. What year did Santorini explode?
1950.
No, that's way too recent. That's not the one. It happened in ancient times. Okay, I'm seeing. So I got it on my screen now. I'm not share. Okay, I'll share this with you guys. Let's see if we can get it shared going. I mean, it's being recorded because that's what they can see, but you guys can't see it. So let me share this. Screen 3. See, it's referred to as the Minoan. Okay, so back then it was called Thera. The volcano was called Thera. It was called the Minoan eruption. So it erupted in Minoan times. You see that island? That used to be a bigger island. That big gap there in the middle, that was what was destroyed by the volcano. And it was flooded, and the Mediterranean rushed in. Okay? It's a catastrophic volcanic eruption that devastated the Aegean island of Thera, also called Santorini, in 1600 BC. So an explosion of this size would have resulted in matter in the air that would have blocked out the sun for a certain area of the world. So this is the kind of thing that could explain going dark.
I can't explain going dark.
Now this is 1600 BC, right? So you bring this up here, and let's ask, what year did the Hebrews escape Egypt? The date of the biblical Jewish exodus from Egypt is debated, with two primary scholarly theories: an early date around 1446 to 1450 based on literal readings of Kings 6:1, or a later date of 1225 to 1300 BC. Now, theoretically, if you wanted to connect, if you wanted to find a reason, so that Santorini erupting would have possibly created that condition, and that's 1600 BC. That's possible. Right?
I think it's very possible.
They're saying it's an earlier date, is like they have around the 14 to 1500 BC range, and at 1225 it could have been earlier. It could have been, because remember, the dates here are reversed. So 1600 BC is older than this by about 150 years. 150
Okay,
years.
but you have another volcanic activity around that time, 1400.
What is it?
W volcano.
What's that?
There was another volcanic explosion around that time. It says the W volcano, so that could explain a volcanic activity.
What's it called?
Dubbi.
See, but it has to be big. Like Santorini's big enough. Santorini's big enough to have caused that. Okay, so let's see. Where's this? The W volcano is a what's it called? It's a stratovolcano located in the south. Oh, it's in the Red Sea region of Red Sea area. So that's closer. There have been
Could have blocked out the sun.
There have been 4 known eruptions in 1400, but the lava reached the Red Sea. But okay, while in 1861, ash. See this? Okay, so the old eruption is 1400, which is about the right time, but it's not necessarily big enough. See, I don't think it's big enough because the devastation that it left wouldn't. It's never really talked about like Santorini. Like look at Santorini, that whole thing. That's where a volcano was.
Okay, but then we were talking about it being local to an area. What if it was just local to that area and it wasn't, say, broadcasted? And because the news wasn't broadcasted as widely as it was back then, it might not have been, say,
I mean, it's possible.
Easy to hear about.
It's possible, but remember, volcanoes, when they're big enough to throw that much matter into the air, so volcanoes can just, like this is talking about lava reach the Red Sea. So a volcano can ooze lava without exploding, really. I mean, a minor eruption, it can throw lava around, right? Like in Hawaii. Like Hawaii volcanoes are the lava is constantly reaching the Pacific Ocean, right? But it never throws enough particulate into the air. So something like we would see evidence of a massive, it would have to be an explosion the size of this. Like I think another one this big is Krakatoa, was also this big, but that's more modern. Krakatoa is another big one. But this was thought to be, they thought that this happened in the Aegean, part of the Mediterranean, right? So like look at the So it's here. It's somewhere in this area right there. This is part of the Mediterranean. There's Greece. The Holy Lands are just down here somewhere. Okay? A volcanic eruption like that would have caused tsunami type waves.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why a lot of people research. I mean, people creating those YouTube videos and History Channel specials theorize that volcanic explosion could have caused movement of water that would have flooded coastal areas, bringing rise to the Great Flood myths.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because back then, a person's entire world was like a 20-mile radius around them. People didn't really travel that far back then.
Didn't travel, and then it wasn't like they had buildings that were flood proof.
So seeing your town completely flooded, to you, the world flooded. Right? So that could have been, they theorized that could have been the cause of the flood myths. That's one thing. But an explosion that big would have thrown so much stuff into the air that it would have blocked out the sun. That could have look at that. If you read about it, let me try to make this bigger because I can't see this damn thing. There we go. This is just a crazy. It destroyed the Minoan settlement of Akrotiri, as well as the communities and agriculture areas on nearby islands and the coast of Crete, with earthquakes and tsunamis. It resulted in the ejection of approximately 28 to 41 kilometers cubed of dense rock equivalent. The eruption was one of the largest events in human history. That's pretty crazy.
Oop, there we go again.
Yeah, it's devastating. It was. Anyway, so that's archaeology. These are the Bronze Age. So really, I mean, like, you know, if you really wanted to think about it, yeah, is it possible that this could have been the source of one of the plagues, maybe? Oh, it's not my share. Hold on. There we go. But then again, so it's.
I think, like,
so if
deducing this.
If this stuff did happen, like, you know, it is okay. So the first couple plagues, I can see that as a chain of events, right? That could have happened, right? But then for the rest of these plagues, which are unrelated, to have followed that is like some really, like, you know, astronomically bad luck for Egyptians.
Yeah, because I mean, I think also there's no timeline. We don't know how long this whole thing would have went on. It may say if it went on for a year.
Oh yeah,
and Moses just kept popping back up like, let us go.
I'm
and
sure
every other month
it went on for actually probably years, more than 1 year. I mean, like, you know, it probably went on for quite a while. You know,
yeah. Because I mean, like, the only one that I would say is up for debate is the death of firstborn kids. If there's no record on the Egyptian side, we only have the Hebrew side. I mean, I'm not gonna say it didn't happen, but where, like, you know what I'm saying? Why wouldn't that be documented? Or, like, did they just wake up and kids were just dead? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, there's no record of any of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. There's no record of any. You'd have thought that there would have been a record of that.
I mean, but you gotta think though, it may have not been a record, maybe because that was just between Moses and the Pharaoh.
Well, no, it wasn't.
And then you know what? And remember, remember now, this is some of the proof. There are chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea because remember he parted the Red Sea and they were chasing him. There are chariots at the bottom of the Red Sea.
Wait, where okay, so where's that from?
Remember, he had to part the Red Sea for them to cross into the land.
Where do you see that there are chariots? See, I don't think that. See, chariots chariots made of. I don't think they would have survived that long down there. I think they would have. They would not.
Deteriorated?
I don't think they would be. I don't think you can find them anymore. If they were down there, they would have rotted away.
I say something about that.
See that's one of those,
It's like,
that's
it
one of those
be
things where it's like, okay, before we say that, we got to really verify that source, because that could have come from any one of some that could come from a group like us.
no,
Saying
no,
something
no.
on
It's like a History Channel thing that I've seen. But hold on, let me see. Hold on.
yeah, look that up.
Hands at the bottom of the Red Sea.
Chariots about look that up. And I'm gonna look up something else. Okay, I'm gonna bring this up on my screen. You guys ain't gonna see it for now. I mean, the people will see it. But who was the pharaoh during that time?
Mm-hmm. They say it's not reputable because they say that they look like. What is
Okay, here we
going
go.
on?
So I got it on screen. The identity of the pharaoh during the Exodus is not explicitly named in the Bible, leaving it a subject of historical and scholarly debate, while popular culture often identifies him as Ramses II, 13th century BC. Due to the city of Ramses mentioned in Exodus 1:11, many scholars based on biblical chronology suggest an earlier 18th dynasty ruler, such as Amenhotep II.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Um, okay. Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so we're going to bring this one up. I'm going to share this now. Now we're diving into this conspiracy theory bubble.
I think it was gonna go this way,
So this is
but
the Armstrong Institute of Biblical Archaeology. Okay, can you guys see that?
Mm-hmm.
How valid this site is, I'm not sure. They got a magazine, Let the Stone Speak. That's what it's called. So their little logo here is Hebrew. Okay, so do they have a bit of a bias? Maybe we'll see. Um, Egyptian records show that Pharaoh Amenhotep II assumed the throne when he was 18 and reigned for 26 years. Let me see. He had 3 big military campaigns. He imported more than 101,000 captives from the Levant into Egypt. Let's see where it gets biblical. I'm reading it. You guys reading this long? Nothing yet about the Hebrews.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They're just saying how he kind of fits the description. Okay, it's saying that the archaeological record doesn't have anything about the second half of his 26-year reign. Still reading through.
Woo.
Okay, so this seems it's a lot of this is conjecture. Yeah, this feels like conjecture. See, it's videos like this one that we're pulling from. Evidence of Israel in Egypt. See, at some point in time, humans will figure these things out. They'll find ways to really figure out
What happened?
what really happened and what didn't happen. So these are the different pharaohs of the time. So what do they say that happened in 1600 BC? So Amos the first was about that time. So they figured it happened somewhere in here. Happened somewhere in here. So yeah. So this is man, this is just but none of it's conclusive.
I mean, that's the whole thing. It's like it's a faith. It ain't supposed to be conclusive. You know, it's just like, I mean, I don't like the Hindu religion. I can't battle a lot of stuff to what the Hindu religion says because they have archaeological evidence about a lot of stuff and that stuff that happens. They have temples where it's like, who did make these temples?
Well, okay, so the Hindu. Okay, so what is it? Which ones are the Hindus? The Hindus are the ones that worship who again?
They worship all the gods, Vishnu, Rama, Brahma, all that.
Okay, so those are the Hindus. Okay,
They got what is it? I think they have over 300 plus.
They've got a pantheon.
They got a pantheon. Yep.
And
Sheba.
so do the who else has like the more modern religions. Like one that's pretty documented is what are they called again? The and I guess they're not even really a religion necessarily. It's the what's it called? The why am I blanking on this? What's the religion again? Buddhism.
Yeah.
Okay, Buddhism is just about people finding the elevated state. So the actual Buddhas are documented people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So those are actually documented folks. And when did they happen? When was the first Buddha?
When was the first Buddha?
Like I forget what year he happened in. Right. But there's documentation there. The other ones, what's we got? So, if you think about it, the surviving religions of the world. Well, no, because there was a lot that didn't survive, right? A lot of the stuff that we look at as just stories nowadays were religions, right? Like who worships Odin anymore?
Oh yeah. That was religion.
That really is not even that's not a religion. Period. Anywhere. I don't think anyone really.
Mythology was never a religion. They never prayed to these people.
I don't think anybody worships Thor. And Greece. They don't. I mean, the ancient Greek gods aren't worshipped anymore. I mean, like I don't think that there's any Greeks that still worship Zeus.
No.
Right? They acknowledge that they grew out of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, that was kind of a good idea back then, but we know better now. That kind of a thing, right?
Right.
That's what happened to them, right? So we don't worship Odin. We don't worship, but at the same time, like the Hindu religion. They're the same thing, and they're still worshipped.
Yeah, because you have what is it called? The Mahabharata? Something like that. I forgot. I can't. Please remember, I'm ignorant. I'm not trying to butcher nothing.
This is coming from this entire episode is coming from a place of ignorance. We are ignorant, and we're willing to just keep talking.
Yeah,
because it makes an interesting conversation, right?
Yeah,
and we're going to come to some conclusions out of this that are completely wrong. And some people are going to repeat them, and we're sorry.
Yeah, don't repeat me. I mean, go and fact check me and find the facts.
Take none of this. Take none of this at face value. Okay, we don't know shit here. Okay, we're just talking. Okay, but if you really think about it, the Hindu religion is very similar to what the Greeks had and what the ancient Germanic peoples had,
Right.
and those just fizzled away and died.
Yep.
Yet, yet Vishnu, I mean, like that's still a thing.
That's still a thing.
So
There's still statues of Shiva, and you know what I'm saying. It's a whole bunch of stuff.
visit any Indian person's house, and you'll see one of those things, right?
Yep.
You'll see
You'll see.
Ganesh.
You'll see the yeah. You'll see Ganesh. You'll see all of them.
You'll see a little shrine to somebody there,
Mm-hmm.
right? It happens.
Yep.
Like remember the Simpsons episode where like where Apu
Apu.
and he's like please. Well, I think Homer's offering peanuts to like please don't offer peanuts to my god. I mean it's still a thing.
I mean, yeah.
And so I mean like and they fully believe it.
They fully believe it, and don't you talk bad about no Vishnu or Shiva or Ganesh.
To modern people, you compare those gods. I mean, and okay. So here's my disclaimer. The only thing I know about those gods, I learned from Dungeons and Dragons.
Is that factual?
What?
Is that factual? Do they base it on facts, or do they spend some type of
What do you mean?
extra in Dungeons and Dragons?
No. Okay. So in Dungeons and Dragons, I got this Dungeon Master's compendium, like a guide. Well, there's the Dungeon Master's guide. Then there's this entire book called Deities and Demigods.
Mm.
Dungeons and Dragons created characters out of all these gods from different religions, and the funny part is you read through deities and demigods, and there's a whole section on Norse gods, there's a whole section on Greek gods, and then there's a section on the Hindu gods, right?
Mm.
And it's funny to look at it; they're all in there, and if you read that, you think that they're all just crazy myths, right? That they're using as characters for this game. But the Hindu section is based on gods they still worship.
Yeah, they worship them, and
right?
I'll just say it's an epic or a book, the Mahabharata.
Mahabharata, I think, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
where
there's a whole bunch
it
of stuff.
details a whole story about these gods, and it was a war, and like I remember it was a cartoon where I watched a cartoon where I was like, so these monkeys flew. And what the war?
The stories that come out of that religion are really similar to the stories that you see with the Egyptian gods. You know, because the Egyptian gods are really interesting though. The mythology is really interesting, and it's very similar to what you see with the gods of India. I mean, think about it. So what is like gods are married to each other, right? So you got it's Vishnu is married to who? Vishnu is married to.
I forgot what it was. Yeah,
Can't remember how it goes, but you know it's really if you look at it, it reads just like the mythologies that we consider mythology now.
Mm-hmm.
But it still exists. It still lives on as a real religion.
Right.
So could you imagine if Greeks never moved past their imagine if people still worshipped those gods today?
Yeah.
Because the Greeks felt that, and just like why do you think Indian people have those shrines in their homes? They make offerings to it.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it's culture, some of it's tradition, but there's some sort of belief there. Just the same way that you walk into certain Asian households and they have shrines to dead relatives. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they make offerings.
I don't. Yeah, I would never make an offering. I know, like we felt some type of way because we got the urn of my auntie. That's the first time we ever had an urn.
Ah, it's in your house, huh?
Yeah.
Does that give you
So,
creeps
but no, I don't give me no creeps. I don't care. And I don't believe in none of that stuff. I just was like, we just got our ashes. That's it.
There you go. So, but you're not lighting candles in front of it and like getting
Oh
offering and stuff.
no, never.
No, but that happens. That happens in certain Asian cultures. The Asian cultures, a lot of them take, even though it's not part of religion anymore, they still do it. It's a form of ancestor worship.
Yeah, I don't worship my
It's
ancestors.
kind of the
I
same way that how with Mexicans they have the
Dia
Day
de
to
los
day.
yeah,
Muertos.
they have what are they called?
Dia
No,
de los Muertos.
not the day itself. The display, the little shrine. They call it something.
Oh,
They call it something. They call it a okay. And everything I know about that comes from the movie Coco. Right? I gotta say that right now. Most of what I know
Which
about
was a
that,
good movie.
it was a good movie. I mean, like yeah, they call it a what do they call the ofrendo or something like that?
Prendas.
Ofrenda, yeah, yeah. The little shrine they put up during that day to remember their relatives, and they give offerings. Like and okay, so Mexican culture, the Mexican culture is very. It's a combination of Spanish culture and the indigenous cultures that were here, right? It happened in the Philippines too, right? So they make offerings during that. So if you go to like Vallarta or Superior during that time of the year,
Hmm.
there are breads and cakes that are not meant to be eaten. They're meant to be offered. So you got to wonder if they taste it. I mean, do they make them taste really good or not? Because no one's going to eat them. Right. So
Mm.
these are breads and cakes meant to be offered to the dead. Right. They sell them there. And so if it's going to be offered to the dead, no one's really going to eat it. Are you really going to spend extra time and money making it taste really good? I don't know. Right. So yeah, so they still do that. They still offer stuff to their dead relatives. The
Mm.
Chinese have this thing called hell money.
Of what?
Yeah, look that up, Quentin. Hell money.
Hell money?
Bread is called pan de muerto. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
yeah, bread of the dead.
I didn't know that one. That's a new
Yeah,
one to
so
me.
there's a thing called hell. They call you can buy them in certain Chinese places. They're called hell banknotes because so instead of putting real money at the offering,
I've heard of that one.
they it basically is like monopoly money for the dead. They call it a hell banknote. You seen that, Quentin? Are you looking it up?
Yeah, but it's a weird thing. Hell money is a modernized form of Joss paper printed to resemble a legal tender banknote.
Yeah, it's offered to the dead. Yeah, because they need some walking around money.
Yeah, but it has to be the right currency. That's not the right currency.
What's that?
My dead folks are from the U.S. That's not the right currency.
No, but this is made for Chinese folks. Yeah, so I mean, like people still do it. People still offer. So that's a form of ancient worship is ancestor worship.
Hmm.
But yeah, so actually, out of all the existing religions today, the reason why like the Hindu religion seems so kind of wacky to Westerners is that because think about it. When Christians or Catholics or whatever, I mean, when we think of God, right?
Hmm.
Well, some people's minds like rush over to see Jesus, right? And
Right.
Jesus is the Son of God in human form, right? That's what he is.
Uh-huh.
There is no way to picture his quote unquote father. Right? God is. I mean, we kind of see him as an old guy and with big white beard and robes, kind of.
Yeah.
Somehow, some people
'Cause
see
that's
him
how
that
we
way.
look at a father.
Yeah, but in reality, he has no form.
Nope.
Right? He never took a form for anybody, so no one's ever seen him. At most, they've
Nope.
seen like a burning bush, a column of fire, like
Or his
rays of
back.
light, right? His back, right?
Yeah.
Um,
What is that supposed
what is
to
that? Well, like
mean?
what is the back of something you don't even see? I mean, so we never see him, right? So, um, and the Jewish God it's the same God, right?
Yeah.
The God of the Hebrews is the same God of the Christians,
It's the same God.
and it's the same God of the Muslims too. They're all three of the same God.
Yeah.
They came from the same religion. Okay.
Yeah.
And in none of those religions do we know what he looks like at all, right?
No.
But when you compare him to like the Hindus actually have visual depictions of their gods. They know what
Yeah.
they look like.
They have some of them have multiple faces on
Which
one
is kind of
head.
cool, right?
Yeah.
The multiple face gods, the multiple arm gods.
Multiple
That's
arms.
some pretty cool, trippy stuff,
Blue
Yeah.
skin.
right?
Blue
Blue skin,
skin.
some of them, right? Like one of them, Kali. is the goddess of death and what? And rebirth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's got some pretty trippy stuff. And to look at some of their depictions, they not only interact with people, they kill them.
Yep.
Right? So that's why that religion is very different than what we get as Westerners. Well, how do we get on this religious thing?
Oh, because I forgot. Oh, because I was talking about if you're from Pakistan, you're a Muslim, and
Oh, you brought up
yeah,
Muslim. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah,
eating
yeah.
at the restaurant. That's where it
I
all
was eating
came.
at the restaurant and
With
just
the
went
question
down
that
that.
starts off is, I don't know if this is racist or not, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you think about the funny thing about it, inside that restaurant, I got my first Quran today. I'm gonna read it.
did
They
you?
had a little.
Was it free?
It
Like
was
up
a
front?
free Quran.
Yeah.
I got a free Quran today.
Wait, so isn't the Quran and the Torah essentially similar? Are they the same thing?
It's not the same thing. I mean, because what is it? I don't know why. Islam. I was about to I want to call it Muslim. Islam started after Christianity, so it's
No,
different.
remember, is Islam okay? The basis of Islam
Mm.
is Judaism,
Yeah.
because Muhammad was a prophet. I mean, it's the same religion. That's why they're the same God, really. It's just that
Nah.
Muhammad had some different ideas.
Muhammad had some different ideas, and he was living way different. Remember,
Yeah,
Muhammad had a 9-year-old daughter. I mean, 9-year-old wife.
yeah. So
Muhammad's kind of wild,
wait.
man.
What year was Muhammad? Did Muhammad live?
I think it was like it was. I want to say it was in the first century, Muhammad, or it might have been the third century.
Yeah, he's a later prophet.
He was a later prophet.
He's like who are the other prophets? Was Moses a prophet? He was, right?
Yeah.
Who were the prophets? Moses.
Moses, Elijah, Ezekiel, Jeremiah. There's several prophets in the Bible.
Does does Islam acknowledge Jesus as a prophet or no?
They acknowledge him as a prophet, but not as the Messiah.
Yeah, yeah.
In in our religion, he's the
they acknowledge
Messiah.
his existence, but as a prophet, right?
Yeah, only they try to like devalue him, where we don't really devalue. We look him as the Son of God.
Yeah. So
We
that's
look at him as the way, the truth, and the light.
so the difference in all of them is that basically for the Jewish religion, everything about their religion ends at the Old Testament,
Mhm.
right? So everything after the Old Testament, which is the New Testament is exclusive to Jesus, right? And so the Jewish religion doesn't even acknowledge the New Testament as being a thing.
And that's where I think the hypocrisy comes in. You have to acknowledge all of it. You have to like because there are certain Christians that don't acknowledge the New Testament. I mean the Old Testament. It's weird, but
Wait,
that's why
I've never heard of that.
there's a lot. Oh, please, there's a lot of.
Which so if you don't acknowledge the Old Testament, then you don't acknowledge what's it called?
There are churches that say we're New Testament believers.
So
They don't
they don't
believe in the
acknowledge
Old
the Garden
Testament.
of Eden. They don't acknowledge creation.
They would like in certain instances. There's a lot of hypocrisy out there,
They
Armand.
don't
There's
acknowledge
churches,
Moses.
man. They barely talk about it.
They don't acknowledge
Like
the ark.
like man, they'll acknowledge it, but it's one of them things like of course you're gonna acknowledge the basics. You're gonna acknowledge Moses, you're gonna acknowledge Abraham, you're gonna acknowledge Garden of Eden. You're not gonna acknowledge Jeremiah. You're not gonna acknowledge Ezekiel. You're not gonna acknowledge Job. You're not gonna acknowledge all of these. Like some of these pastors only use the book of Malachi to justify tithes. Like I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. Like and I've heard pastors say this. I'm not just saying this. I've heard pastors say this.
Okay, so let's kind of okay. So I look at groups like that as fringe, right? So let's talk about world religions. Let's talk about acknowledge major religions.
Uh,
So major versions of Christianity,
mhm.
okay, are going to acknowledge the Old Testament.
Major, yeah.
Right? No, definitely. Catholics do.
Mm.
Catholics is a major worldwide thing, right? They're one of the largest Christian groupings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they definitively acknowledge Old and New Testament.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, anybody who uses, I guess, so these guys who don't acknowledge it, do they use regular Bibles or do they have their own special Bibles?
They have regular Bibles. They have different versions of the
They
Bible.
just rip out
They
certain
use the
pages.
King James and stuff like that. Like our mom, some pastors, and I'm gotta key in on some. There's not a lot of them. Well, I ain't gonna say that it's a lot. Some of these pastors come up with their sermons. Most of their sermons are motivational speeches.
Yeah.
They're not anything biblically based. And a lot of them will denounce things that are clearly spoken about in the Bible. Like, okay, like the other day, like I would love to go to a Mend, right? They're having the conference. Like, where is it? The Mend is at Long Beach Convention Center this year,
Yeah.
right? When he told me that Jamal Bryant is going to be there, I was like, yeah, I ain't going. Jamal Bryant is one of those pastors.
Ah.
Yeah, Jamal Bryant, like his, like if you go, the logo of his church is a black fist with a cross on it. He's more of a race grifter and a more of a black power artist than a pastor. He doesn't get up there and talk about what's going on in the Bible or how to get you to heaven. He's talking about we should boycott Target and black this, Trump bad, Trump this. You know what I'm saying?
Why,
Like,
why does he want us to boycott Target? I want to hear about this.
remember all last year when when Trump tried to get rid of DEI and then Target got rid of DEI, he called for the
that's why.
boycott.
Okay, so nothing religious.
Yeah,
Just,
nothing.
it's a
That's what I'm
social
saying.
thing.
Like
It's a
that's what I'm
social justice
saying.
thing.
Man, he a social. It's called the social gospel.
Oh God. Okay.
Yeah, man. Like I mean, it sounds far fetched, but it's the truth. It really, really, really happens. There's a lot of pastors like that. It's not about the Bible. It's not about your salvation. It's a motivational speech. You've heard of prosperity gospel, right?
Yes.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
See. This is the reason why I'm not religious, for the most part. It's because you look around and, okay, so the only instance I would be religious is if I was using it to make money.
That's the only reason a lot of people do use
Okay,
it.
so if I was to delve into religion, it would be to make a buck off it, right? And that's the reason why I don't do it. Just because I mean, you guys know me, right? You know, I mean, to me, a lot of things are justifiable if they're legal and I can make money from it, right?
Right.
That's the one thing that I just wouldn't do, just because it's one of those things that's hard to combat. When you build a reputation for doing certain, so there's certain business practices that I won't deal with, because once you deal in those business practices, it's hard to come back and get people to trust you again.
Yeah, true.
Right? There's certain things that you just shouldn't do, right? And that's one of them, right? Trying to make a buck from religion.
Now, okay, so I have an interesting question to ask you, right?
Okay.
So, at one point in time, I dived into this, right? You know, and a lot like I ran into a coach that was really trying to get me to do this, right? So I checked into trying to be a life coach. I think we talked about it, right?
Okay.
And I just dived into it, and I ran across this coach who was trying to talk me into doing it. And I told him, I was like, okay, I have a framework, right? So I do this thing called the 40-day miracle, and the 40-day miracle, it really, really, really works. It is the truest thing. I promise you, if you took the 40-day miracle, any change in your life will actually happen.
Okay.
I guarantee it. 40-day miracle, you go 40 days, pretty much staying away from the 7 deadly sins. That's the gist of
Okay.
it.
So what are the 7 deadly sins? Let's recap those.
Okay, 7 deadly sins: lust,
Okay.
greed, sloth, anger, lust.
You said that.
I already said lust.
Yeah. You said that first.
So lust, greed,
Sloth.
anger, sloth. What else am I missing? Pride, envy,
gluttony.
Gluttony. Okay.
Yeah, there's in this program, and I actually live my life like this. You know, I like, and there's certain it's other little things. There's a couple points that you have to just stick to within this 40-day period, right? Of course, with gluttony, don't overeat. That's the key thing. Leave the table not full. Lust, no fornication, no talking to people outside of. If you're not married, no fornication, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? No talking to anybody who will incite your lust. If you are married, only be with your wife. No talking outside of your marriage, anything like that.
Okay.
Eliminating lust. Anger, no cursing, no getting mad at anything, and no complaining
Okay.
at all. Envy. What was it with envy? Complimenting somebody each and every day. You find one person to compliment each and every day.
Okay.
Greed. You have to give something to somebody each and every day.
Wait, but let's go back to envy. So you compliment somebody every day, but shouldn't it be more than that? Shouldn't you? I mean, like, because envy is going to be when you covet somebody else's stuff, or like when you see somebody else's life and want it, or
True.
somebody else.
And that's why you give out more compliments than, because you start with one. Eventually, you'll end up complimenting more people.
But I mean, but you can compliment somebody while being envious of what they have.
I mean, it's helping you combat it. Like,
Okay.
it's an ongoing thing. The more you do it, the more because the whole thing is recognizing it. Once you recognize it, and then there's also within this.
So what if I like a good example? Let's say I run up on you today, right? And you got life figured out. Everything's going your way, right? You're making the kind of money I want. You're in the field I want. And my compliment to you is, Raymond, man, I wish I had your life.
If you feel like that's a compliment, yeah.
But isn't that itself envy?
Not really. No, where it's envy, because it breaks it down. Because like, also another thing that you have to do, there are 7 sermons that you have. Like, you have to, like, in the first 7 days, you have to listen to at least one of the sermons each and every. Like, out of the first 7 days, listen to one of the 7, and by the end of it, you got to listen to them again. And then the sermons, it breaks it down, because there's several case studies in this. I'm just trying to briefly go through it, right? And why I said this work, because I did it several times. First time I came across it is the reason why I came across it is because the people who made it had a church up the street from me when I was living in Atlanta.
Okay.
At the beginning of 40 days, I wanted to move back to California. Guess where I was at by the end of the 40 days? I was in California.
Okay.
That was my first where I was like, okay, this is real. Another situation. Having on the rocks with my girlfriend because I had did something out of anger.
Okay. She
was going to break up with me. It was over. By the end of those 40 days, I was back with my girlfriend. I've had several situations where I can tell you this thing works. You got to look at it. God is not a genie. You can't just be like, I want to be a millionaire. I've done that before. And you know what happened? I stopped having money problems after the end of that one. At the end, like when I said I wanted to be a millionaire, I didn't become a millionaire, but I ran into a therapist that taught me about money and what I kind of got rid of my blocks with money. I actually started doing way more things without money.
Okay.
After that situation. Like and like this is one of the only things that I would guarantee, and like I guarantee if you did this thing truthfully for 40 days and you come up with a goal for your 40 days, that goal will happen.
What was it called, Raymond?
It's called the 40-day miracle. I think the website is gone. Like they changed it where it's like now they've added, because it's two parts to it. It's the 40-day miracle, and it's called Do 42. I never did 42. 42 is a little bit harder. 42 is like strictly like it's the 40-day miracle plus a dietary thing that you have to do, where it's like you don't eat cooked foods for 42 days. And the last week of it, you only drink water.
Okay.
I got to like 3 weeks and I couldn't do it no more.
That's one of those things where, I mean, a dietary program, like any program. So let's actually. Okay, are you done describing, or you got more?
The only thing I was just gonna go to the end of it. It was just like the whole life coaching thing was, can I coach people on this?
Okay.
Because I have a lot of experience. I'm just telling you off the top of my head. I've had several times that I passed this thing, and I've had a transformation in my life.
Yeah. See, but that's the reason why you can't. I wouldn't coach it. This is the reason why you've had several times you passed the thing, because what you're describing is kind of like a cleanse in some ways, right? But the reason you've gone through it several times is because you've in a lot of ways you reverted back. I mean, like you just did something. It's temporary. Right?
It's temporary, but like right now in life, I've at this point in life, I've just kind of stuck to it. I'm not perfect, but I've stuck to it a lot more to where it's like I don't live the 40-day life like that no more. Like, perfect example, becoming the president, right? I 40 days. I was like, I want to be the best president at this school, and I became probably the best president these people ever seen in their lives. I did a whole speech on this. It was a very monumental point in my life. So I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like it works. But like you said, sometimes you revert back, which sometimes I do. And like when I see myself reverting back, I hop back on it and I get back on the right path. If you can turn the 40-day miracle into a 40-day life, you should have a substantial life. And that's why that was my goal. I was going to live the 40-day life and begin to coach people on it. But I felt bad because I'm like, I feel like it should be free because it was free to me. It was never nobody there to coach it. Like the church that I got it from, didn't nobody coach me on that.
Okay.
Like nobody sat there like, oh, this is what you should do.
Okay. So Raymond, so you feel it should be free, right?
I feel like it should be
So
free.
how do you make it free?
Oh, like how it is right now, promoted and it was.
How do you make it free yet benefit from it financially? The answer has been right in front of you the entire time. I mean, like we talked about this for the longest time, right?
What?
Okay, so let's talk about creators.
Right.
Okay. Does Pinch of Yum? Okay, so how much? Okay, so there's a creator called Pinch of Yum out there for those of you out there looking at us. Pinch of Yum is a food blogger, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're a 7-figure food blogger. They
Right.
earn legitimately 7 figures from their online presence. Do they charge? Do they have any products they sell?
No,
No. How do they make their money?
they make their money off the blog.
Specifically, how?
People viewing the blog off the views. Yeah.
Views pay them. They pays them in the form of several forms. They have ad revenue.
Yep.
So there's ads running on their site. So when you view their content, they get paid by the ad agencies. That's one way they make it. That's the majority of what they make. Okay. Then they have affiliate marketing money. So when they do reviews on products and stuff like that, when they talk about products, they have links. So when they have a recipe and they have, oh, you want to buy the whisk, you want to buy the bowl, you want to buy the cast iron pan, they have a product. They have the links. You go on Amazon, you buy the product, they get a percentage, right? So they have ad revenue, they have affiliate marketing revenue. What else do they have? Sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
So because of their reach, a company may reach out to them. So like Lodge Cast Iron, I know has done it. Hey man, can you guys work Lodge into one of your blogs and we'll pay you X amount of dollars, which in their case was over almost 30 grand.
Right.
To be used in one like a 5-part blog. I mean, so they wrote about making recipes using Lodge Cast Iron pans.
Right.
They got paid for that. So
Yeah.
ad revenue, affiliate marketing, revenue from sponsorship. Okay, they have all this stuff. The other ways you can make money is from of course selling product, which they don't do anymore. They used to sell an ebook. They don't do it anymore. And then of course there's also
The membership.
subscription and membership, which they do with a different site, but not part of that. Okay, so 7 figures off that site are coming from 3 main areas.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, affiliate marketing, ad revenue, and sponsorship.
Sponsorship.
Okay, and they have a robust social media presence.
Right.
which they use to build audience and divert them back to their website where they make money. And of
Right.
course, they obviously probably make money through the platforms themselves. They earn money. I'm sure they're on Threads now, so that they're earning something everywhere, right?
Yes.
They're earning through Facebook. They're earning on YouTube. Okay, they don't charge for any of it. So Raymond, there's your answer. If
Well,
if this content that you're talking about making is interesting enough,
yeah.
and you're producing content with enough frequency, you can earn money the same way that a food blogger does.
Well, like, because the only thing is, like, I'm giving parts of the story. I created a website. It was called The Miracle.life. I went to go get it monetized. That was actually the first site because that was the first site that I actually got rejected. Because
Oh,
remember,
you
I
got
was on
rejected. Okay.
yeah, that was like, and it was because I was trying to be arrogant about it. I just went ahead and just started putting the regular content on
Oh
there
yeah,
instead of doing our yeah.
you got to sneak it in like we always do.
Yeah. I didn't sneak it in, but it still like it had like 25 posts.
Hold on, hold this thought. 1 second. Hold on a second.
Your 40-day miracle was in Atlanta.
Huh?
Your 40-day miracle people there in Atlanta.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing.
I found them.
Huh?
I found them.
Yeah. The Ark of Salvation.
They have a website to do 42 too.
Yeah, I know. So they're. I don't know if you ever heard of the Bronner Brothers Hair Convention.
Yeah.
They're the Bronner Brothers.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. So it was funny because two of the brothers looked like each other, but both of them will preach at the church, right? When I came across, right, I lived literally up the street from these people. I would, like, one day I was like, oh, let me go, because I grew up in church up the street. All right, let me walk inside to this church. Walk inside the church, I see one of the brothers, right, and he's the funny brother. I'm like, okay, I like this guy. The next time I come in, it's another one. And I'm like, are they two different people? And they call themselves Brothers of the Word. Because, brother, you need the word. They're like, this is years ago, right? They were streaming. They had TV cameras in there and everything. And they would hit a button. They like when they get up there and preach, they used to have a remote where they hit the button and the show would start. And that's how they started the show. Welcome the Brothers of the Word, because brother, you need the word. And it will be they'll give the sermon, and before the sermon ends, because they had a timer. For those of you who are watching us online, I am out of time, but you can go to our website and they'll plug the website, turn the thing off, and that's when they'll have like the regular, what they call it, the devotion, where you get up there and you pray, author call, and then we out of there. It was a really, like, that was like one of the first, like, real. I mean, and it wasn't no mega church. I mean, it was a big church, but probably like a couple hundred people that was there.
So Raymond, you tried to monetize the site already. So what
I
you
tried
got
to
to do is
monetize.
you got to go back and follow the template. It doesn't fail really if you. Okay, so our template and getting sites monetized
Mm,
is to build out a site structured for approval through Google AdSense
mm,
and utilizing a topic that will get you approved,
right,
right? Because once you get approved, your approval is permanent. What's on the site can change, right? You
right,
can get approved as a food blog and convert it into a life coaching blog,
right,
right? You can get and we typically have people. I don't even normally approve them as food blogs. I usually use fitness blogs. Like I make my site as a fitness website because remember the key to it is that you have to demonstrate to AdSense that you deliver value through your site. People
I
are
have
getting
valuable
valuable
content.
information. And like I've told other members and clients that we've had before, you might find your content valuable, but it may not be found valuable to everybody,
Right,
right? So like one of our people was trying to put a site through talking about mental health, okay? And thing is, I mean, like in America, mental health is discussed all the time. It's considered something like learning about mental health is valuable. But other cultures do not value it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so who knows? See, the person reviewing your site and approving it, who knows what culture they come from?
Right.
And your approval is entirely in the hands of that one person. There is no appealing it. Okay. If you're denied, you don't appeal it, you resubmit it. And that same person is going to look at it again and decide if it's valuable now. Right. And that's why we tend to say, okay, you want to publish something that is universally valuable. Like, what are things that are universally valuable? How to lose weight. I mean, a website that shows you how to get into better physical shape.
Mm-hmm.
That's considered valuable pretty much worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one of the reasons why, and even if somebody doesn't value it, they value it on behalf of AdSense because they know that that kind of content brings in, they know it's proven that that kind of content brings in views that they can put ads on. So that is 100% proven to be valuable. So for me, for all my clients, I create fitness websites with ambiguous names. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And they get approved, and then they change that fitness website from a fitness site into a food site, or from a fitness site into a life coaching site, or from a fitness site into a mental health fitness site.
Yeah.
Once you're approved, it's approved. Do anything you want with it then.
Now, Armand, this is what because I mean, I actually made videos and everything, right? Because the only thing was like, I just keep it 100 with you. When my auntie passed away, I lost all momentum with everything. Even like the only thing I really kept going with was our
Videos.
our videos. But because at one point in time, I had this going, the life coaching thing, and I had my food blog going.
Okay.
I was editing all these videos within a week. It's really when my aunt passed away where it's just like everything got thrown out of whack. And other things picked up.
Okay.
That's why, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna say I abandoned it. The only thing that I came back because I was like, now that I'm getting back into the mode, because it's really like, it's just because I have a lot of random stuff that I don't want to do that I have to do right now.
Okay.
What I had thought to myself, I was like, why even go through with approving this site? Why don't I just use my because I have invest in your culture.
That works too.
I was just like, just use that.
That's a good idea.
You know what I'm saying? Just use that because it's already monetized.
Yes.
And it's been kind of like dormant.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
3, right, that you monetized?
Yeah. Well, I have 2 because I lost the third one. I lost the third one because I didn't own the domain.
Okay. So you have invest in your culture, and you have, what's the other one?
Rayla.
Why not do that one? Because invest in your culture, like you're wearing the jacket. I mean, like you actually, you could use that as for that, and you could have everything else as merch.
Yeah, that's how I've been looking at it. But like the only like with El Raylo, I just want like recently I just was like I'm just gonna keep this as food. I just wanted to just be strictly food because they're like even me and my mom, we was talking about it. I was like, eventually we can do like, we want to start off with meal prep and we start cooking again. This other thing popped up where I was going to bring this up. California passed some law to where you can now cook hot food out of your house. You can get a permit for it now.
And serve it where?
Serve it out of your house.
Serve it out of your wait. How does that work? Like,
there's a permit.
People coming to pick it up?
Yeah. You can do pickup. You can't do a delivery app, but you can also do delivery. But they capped it. You can only make $100,000 per year doing this.
A year?
Yeah. It's just like
is that gross 100,000 or is that profit 100,000?
I think it was. Oh, hold on. It just said annual revenue of 100,000. Oh no! Oh no! No! I didn't lose it. Oh no! No, I kept it. Hold on. I made sure I did screenshots. California allows people to legally sell food and drinks out of their homes. Introducing MICO, the Micro Enterprise Home Kitchen Operation Permit. It says it's a real business, legal paths for home chefs to earn, and a way for neighbors to get authentic food. You got to submit an application. It says you can do only 90 meals per week, um, 30 meals maximum per day, and 100,000 in revenue out of your house.
Huh.
90, like just out of a restaurant. I do 30 in an hour.
90 per what? 90 per week?
90 maximum meals per week. I do, man. We do 100 every day in a
Well,
restaurant.
I know that. But so hold on. Let's do some numbers.
Mm.
Let's do a share screen real quick so that you guys can see it and they can see it. Where's that calculator? Okay, here we go. We got a calculator going on here, okay? Okay, so let's use the 90 meals a week thing, right? 90 a week, right?
Mm.
90 a week. So 90 meals a week times 52 weeks in a year, right?
Mm.
The maximum you can do using this deal is 4,680 meals a week.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you charged, so 4,680, right? So let's use that number, 4,680.
Mm-hmm.
So 100,000 divided by 4,680. The most you can charge for a meal is $21.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. If it's gross, if the max gross revenue you can do is 100,000, that would be it. Now, if you can net 100,000,
What's gross?
what's that?
It's gross. 100,000 gross.
Yeah, it's 100,000 gross.
So you can do max 90 meals, maximum charge, or you can do less meals and charge more.
True.
You can do less meals and charge more. You cannot do more than 90. So if you do 90, this is how much you would charge for each. If you do less than 90, you can charge more for each, obviously.
I used to do 30 on a Saturday, every Saturday,
Okay. But
out in the front yard.
yeah, but what I'm saying is you can do 90 max per week. So the fact that you can do 30 has no bearing on this.
I'm saying it's a 30 per day, 90 maximum per week.
There you go. So I mean, what I'm saying is this is the most you can charge for a meal at 90 a week.
$21.
Yes. And so you have to figure. I mean, so now you have to look at your target market, right? So meal prep, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, prior to this, if you wanted to run a meal prep business, did you have to have another facility to make it out of, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this allows you to meal prep from your home.
Yeah.
But
because that's why I was saying I was going to just keep my El Relo brand as food, because we're going to do meal. We want to do meal prep. A lot of people have asked me for it. That's easier to run out the crib than having people come to my house. I can get a delivery driver to do that easy.
So if you're doing meal prep, your choices are going to be this: you can either do 90 meals a week at a price of 21 something per meal, or you can do 45 a week at 40 a meal. So in the end, remember, there's two limitations: the max meals you can make per week, and the max revenue you can earn.
Yeah.
You always want to earn the max revenue. So if you're going to make 25 meals a year, which is not normal, but you charge $4,000 a meal. Because $4,000 per meal would equal $100,000 if there was only 25 meals a year.
Yeah.
Right? That's not realistic. But 90 meals a week at $21 a meal is realistic.
Right.
Okay. And what you do is, you would do, that's the perfect thing for somebody wanting to do a small business in the meal prep category.
Yeah.
Right? That's what you do. Now, let's look about how to get around these rules. Okay. So Quentin, I'm assuming you're seeing it on your screen, right? The
I have a
rules.
piece of it.
Wait, how did you know that it was gross?
Oh, I looked up a piece of it. It gave me a little overview of it.
Okay, so read me the overview.
Micro enterprise home kitchen operation scope allows storing, handling, and preparing hot cooked meals in a home kitchen. Limits up to 90 meals per week and maximum 100,000 in gross annual sales. Requirements must be registered with local county environmental health department, which may require inspections. Counties, not all counties have adopted this. Major areas like Los Angeles, Riverside, and San Francisco have.
Okay, so the thing to investigate is this. Okay, how many? So you can. So is it based on the location? Can a mother-son duo operate two different meal prep businesses out of the same house? Is the question.
Oh, that's a good question.
So then you have two business names.
You have two separate businesses entirely.
It might go by the address though.
Well, no, but there is the question. Is there a maximum number of businesses that can operate out of the location? That's the question to ask. And if that's the case, then that's your limitation. If there's no mention of that, you can have two separate entities creating meals from that location.
Yeah.
Okay? So there's nothing in the books about maximum numbers of places operating out of the spot, then different story.
Because I a lot of people who started out the crib. Like, I remember we talked about the fries man. I don't. I remember you was like, man, he ain't gonna make it.
He's still open.
He's still open, but it ain't
Keeping
booming
going,
like it used to
know,
booming.
But so let's talk about a few other things. Okay, so let's talk about. Okay, so Raymond, you got these brands. So one thing I want to kind of remind you about that I kind of have to pull you back. I mean, because a lot of times, because when I coach people, part of what coaching is course correcting for them.
Right.
Right. You give a person, and that's why oftentimes like more frequent coaching sessions are better, because what ends up happening a lot of times is you coach somebody intensely for a week or two, and then you don't see them for a few months, and they come back and you look at what they've done, and they veered.
Right.
You got to pull them back on course. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, and a lot of times, why do people veer from coaching advice, even though they want to stick to it, but it's like a car that naturally pulls to the right, right? Something happening, like,
more information.
Yeah. Well, actually what happens a lot of times is because passion makes them veer.
Mm-hmm.
There's things that they want to do.
Yeah.
It's not on the agenda for things they should be doing.
Nope.
Right. And when it comes to business, you have to really keep an eye on those things that you want to do. You have to understand that you tend to flock towards those areas when you shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And because everyone, there's 24 hours in everybody's day, and you can only do a certain amount of things in those 24 hours. So you have to make sure that you're doing the things that make the most sense for those 24 hours. The most sense for what you want to achieve and the most sense together.
Right.
Right. And one of the reasons why why are we called the Digital Entrepreneurship Network? Why did I call this Digenet?
Because we are trying to create more digital entrepreneurs.
We're advocating for a digital entrepreneurship journey, right?
Right.
A person can do many business types, right? You can, because guys, I love guys who come up to me and say, I want to make money as an entrepreneur. I want to be in business. And when I ask them, what kind of business do you want to do? They have no clue. That's the best kind of person to coach. Because since they have nothing that is like pulling them there, they're open to anything. Right? So, and a lot of times I like guys who don't have any particular skill. Right? Because sometimes a person has so much skill in one area, it's all they want to do, or it's all they think they can do. Right? But people who have no skill in any area, but are open to trying and don't mind looking like a fool, that's the best.
Right.
Right? Because think about it. Okay, so part of the digital entrepreneurship journey is monetize online presences, websites, social media. Right? So I try to tell everybody, get a site monetized, because it doesn't take much to establish a site. If you're willing to do the work yourself, it's much, much less.
Right.
Right. And you two guys have seen some of the people that we've worked with in this group. Some of the people who got approved the fastest, who got their work through the fastest and got approved the fastest, are the people who knew the least about technical things. Because they just sat there and listened and just followed the steps, step by step.
Right.
They didn't, it's funny, sometimes the less knowledge you have, the better. Because you don't know enough to know whether or not this is hard.
Mm-hmm.
All you know is like, okay, he did it, and they follow step by step, and it happened, right? Sometimes people learn a little bit about something, and they convince themselves it's super difficult. And the reason why it takes them so long is because they got to talk themselves past the I can't do this phase. Other people just hear it once, and they just come back, and they're approved, right? Oh, they disappeared for a while. I thought that they dropped out. Then they came back, and they got approved. What do I do next? Like, oh, shit. That's cool, right? See, so there's a lot of advantages to doing things in the digital world versus the physical world, right? Like a person who wants to start a meal prep business. Okay. What are so let's talk about, like, for example, those Pinch of Yum folks. They write about cooking. They're not a food blog where they write about eating.
Nope.
They don't visit restaurants. They never have posts about restaurant meals. They have posts about specific recipes that they actually go through the process of cooking.
Making.
They make it, right? That's what they do. Okay. Do they really make it or not? Actually, I can tell you, they do make them. They are a group that, they really do make it. Can you make the same kind of content without making it? For sure. Right? Because the way that sites are now, sites are having less and less photos on them. In the old days, you go to a fitness site and there's tons of photos along with the writing, right? Today, go to a big fitness site, there's like one photo. That's it. So if you really wanted to do a food blog and just have a single image of a finished product, you could do that. Okay. So can you do a food blog without cooking stuff today? Yeah. Okay. Should you? I mean, it's up to you, right? Depends on how you strategize your marketing. But can a person who wants to do meal prep, as they're conceptualize launching the company, can they create a monetized food blog that could make them as much money as a meal prep business will? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. At the same time, though, the meal prep side of things will make the money faster than the food blog will.
True.
Because you can find a way to market the meal prep to bring in customers faster than you can build up audiences on a blog. Okay. Will if the blog takes off like the meal prep takes off, which one will earn more? The blog definitely will in the long run.
Right.
But the meal prep could make you money quickly.
Right.
Okay. At the same time, though, if you are, let's say you have a 9-to-5 working job, you have a W-2 job paying you like $120 a year. Okay? You decide that you're going to create a meal prep business and a food blog based on the meal prep business. Okay. You can actually, in the first few years of this process, you can earn the money from that business in tax breaks that you get for creating a business loss in those early years. So in launching that meal prep business on paper and getting it thought through and researching it, you can take a lot of what are your natural everyday expenses and make them into a business expense because of the meal prep business and the blog that goes with it. And while the blog's not profitable yet, you're able to get a big tax break. Okay, making it profitable in my eyes. Because money you get back from the government, to me, is like earning money.
Yep.
Okay? There's a lot of ways to go about it. But, I mean, if you compare, so let's say the meal prep thing. So let's say you're doing a meal prep, you are thinking about a meal prep business where your hook is they're nutritionally balanced. They're designed to fuel you, right? So they're not just a satisfying meal on a Tuesday night. It's designed to help you either gain, bulk up, slim. It's something. It's healthy, right? You can create a healthy meal prep business, or you can create an online course showing people how to do healthy meal prep.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But you can do both those things. The healthy course on meal prep will probably cost you less than
And do a meal prep.
doing industrial meal prep. Because, if you want to do proper meal prep, you have to have the right equipment.
Yep.
Okay.
Without the proper equipment, and then even looking at that, it's like, man, 20% of $100,000 is what?
Right. It's not that much, right?
Not that much.
Because meal prep, food has a slim profit margin.
It's very
Raymond
slim.
knows that. He works in restaurants, right? I know that. I've owned
Yep.
restaurants. It's very slim. Okay. If you think that you can charge double on what you're buying, you can't. It's like there's
No,
no possible way.
not especially not on meal prep. There's a lot of people who, yeah, you
Can't
can't.
do it. It just doesn't work that way. So a course though. So if you think about it, so let's talk about it. Okay. So let's look at a healthy meal. Let's look at a meal, like plastic container size, the kind that you buy bulk plastic containers, and there's your meal, right?
Mm.
So what are you gonna? So let's use something that's okay. Let's use something super basic. Let's go with grilled chicken breast, grilled chicken breast on a bed of greens. That's super basic, right? How much that gonna cost to prepare one of those? So
For meal prep?
8 ounces of chicken breast, half a pound. That's a lot. Okay, but still, it's good enough. 8 ounces of chicken breast, pre-cooked weight. Okay, Raymond, what's a pound of chicken breast going for right now?
Right now it's like $2.99,
Okay, that's about right. So just in chicken breast alone, it's
$1.50.
$1.50. Okay, and then you have your greens. Okay, better greens. The thing is though, a meal that basic, how much could you charge for it? Basically, it's a chicken salad.
The prices that I've seen, you can get away with anywhere between $7 to $13
Okay, for basically
for
a chicken Caesar
for
salad.
yeah, or like just doing a plate, $7 to $13. I seen like we do meal prep at the restaurant. I think it's like I want to say it's 60 for 5 meals, $60 for 5 meals,
Okay, it's $12 a
and,
meal.
and the meals come with dessert
Okay, how much do you think it costs to put it together?
with packaging. Say
Ingredients,
it's for Sunday.
packaging, the time spent with the labor.
Even with the labor, like if you want to factor in cost of everything, probably $8.
Maybe. But remember, there's the cost that you're not factoring in yet, right?
Mm,
Is the marketing of it. How do you get people to buy it?
that's the thing. We it could be anywhere between $5 to $7 because it's really she's not even marketing it like that.
But she has a restaurant, so she remember the difference is that they're known for making, so they have people walking in there all day long that they can just tell people about it, right?
Yeah.
That's different, right? So
Mm,
a person starting from scratch, no, you don't have a location, right? You're not in the business necessarily, right?
mm,
How do you get the word out? Yes, you can go word of mouth. You can tell
yeah.
everybody that you know that I'm doing meal prep. Okay.
Right.
There's no guarantee in terms of will that sell your meal prep stuff, right?
Yeah. Oh no. If
Okay.
if I also do meal prep, say if I did this out of my house, I was probably spend about $500 a month
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
marketing.
You want to do some form of real marketing. Okay. So you have to
Yeah.
factor all that in. Okay. Now
Yeah. I'll probably do about
let's look
500.
at a course, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to create a course about prepping healthy meals, so basically it would teach them teach them about macronutrients. Okay,
Right.
they'll learn about the macros. You'll give them a bunch of macro options. You provide recipes that can be scaled for different nutritional needs. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you'll spend a lot of this crap can be done through AI now.
Yep.
Okay, you double check it, but basically you can put that course together. in a matter of AI will spit out if you experiment with the right questions, you can get AI to spit you out a polished version in less than a week. AI will do it instantly. It's about you polishing your questions up until you get it right. Right? In about a week, you'll have a course ready to record. Then if you're like one of us, right, with all this setup all around you, you record that course in no time flat. Our computers are designed for editing, right?
Yep.
So, and all of us, well, at least Raymond and I are subscribed to editing softwares. So we'd bang that course out, but we have to test it first. And this is doing one thing that I don't agree with, but we can do it with this because it is a proven product. Audience, who are we selling to? Who's our market, right? We have to adjust this to be marketed to a specific group of people. You just don't want to say healthy meal prep. You want to target an audience. So healthy meal prep for people above 40. Remember, and that's a great way to target because as you get older, your nutritional needs change. And some people think that as you get older, you need less protein. That's not true. As you get older, you need more protein because your body's losing muscle. You have to prevent that loss, right? So if you're an older person trying to build muscle, well, you're really fighting a losing battle in a way. You have to work harder and you have to consume more to get more results, right? So if you create meal preps information for older people, that is an audience of people who are easier to sell to than 20-something-year-olds because 20-something-year-olds meal prep out of vanity. Okay? People who are older meal prep out of necessity. Now, they approach nutrition out of necessity, and also they can afford it. Okay? So you choose the right group of people to market to, and then you market on Facebook. Utilizing zip codes because you're actually selling. Well, no, I'm sorry. I take that back. We're talking about the course now. You target
courses everywhere.
People over 40. You have a bunch of different factors you bring into that, and you would massage that until you get the better sales.
Right.
Okay. I'd say you'd be infinitely more profitable approaching a course versus actually selling meal prep products.
True.
And the course will be profitable as fast, if not faster, than selling meal prep meals. Right? All you got to do is be willing to spend that money on ads.
Right.
Okay? And you don't have to actually cook anything in this course.
Nope.
It would be better. I mean, it'd be nice if you did. It'd be cool.
Yeah, I would just cook just to illustrate, but you don't have to. You can have the ebook with that.
I mean, like because we have the facilities, right? We have the recording facilities. Raymond already does catering.
Yeah.
Quint, I don't know if you've ever seen all this. I mean, like Raymond knows basically I have enough equipment for an industrial kitchen.
Yeah.
I think I've got like 10 high quality 12-inch skillets. I mean, I have and sheet pans. I have enough to actually do bulk meal prep or run a restaurant. It's crazy what I've got. Okay. So we can easily record cooking the meals if you wanted to for the course.
Yeah.
Okay. So Raymond, what I'm saying is that what I think you should do is you should investigate once again a product like that to get out there because like you said, it says since your aunt passed, you've been a lot of stuff has fallen off the wayside. You're focusing on this one thing still.
Yeah.
My advice to somebody out there looking at digital entrepreneurship for the first time, right? If you want to, I always believe that websites are important. I always believe that you should have a website that's monetized.
Right.
Right. But if I was to talk to somebody, if their goal was to make money as fast as humanly possible, okay, I would tell them, at some point in time, do the website, okay? But if you want to prioritize it, actually, you still have to do a site. Like, you still have to get the URL. You don't have to necessarily have a site built on it.
No.
But you got to get the URL because selling courses happens on your website.
Yeah.
Right. So you can get the URL that matches your business. Okay. create the company itself. Okay, this should be done through an LLC. Create an LLC, get the URL, create the course
Right.
after you've researched the market. Okay, so research the market to figure out who there is to sell to, what they want to buy. Based on what they want to buy, create the product, create
Right.
the course, put it out there, and earn. Right? The course you make may flop, but that's okay because you're going to release something early on. You're not going to have the complete course when you start selling it. Do a pre-sale just to test it. And if the pre-sale clicks, create the course.
Yeah. I think and that's why I was saying a lot of stuff fell to the wayside, but me coming back into it, the thing that the life coaching was a cool concept, but really the course that I need to create is this video creation course.
That's a thing, yeah, right?
How to have a better video when you creating videos, have a better video when you streaming.
See,
So
let's talk about the life coaching thing.
mm,
Okay, see, so we're doing something that I don't like doing, but we'll do it. I don't like taking a product and figuring out who's going to buy it.
oh yeah.
Because it's better to create something based on people's needs. See, I'm always leery of consulting for people who want. Like I remember one time, and I'll talk about it because it's been such a long time. Someone I knew came to me, referring a friend / business partner of theirs. They had something going on together. Signed an NDA.
Wow.
Okay? And they paid a fee to me to evaluate what they're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what they were creating was a fitness product, a physical. When I say physical fitness, not like physical fitness, but an actual like if I was holding a jumper, a physical product for fitness is what they were creating, right? And it's the kind of thing where they wanted to manufacture this thing, and so they had all these diagrams and all this stuff that they were doing, and it's based on an existing product that they've seen before. Okay, it's a variation on this product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so I'm telling them, it's like, geez, it's like, who are you going to sell it to? Okay, and that's where I didn't want to work with them because they say, oh man, this thing is going to sell itself. Was their response? They had no idea what the market was. I mean, like they say, oh man, fitness is such a big thing in America, worldwide. Everyone wants to get fit, right? But essentially, they wanted to create a product that they were gonna put on shelves. That's what they wanted to do. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's expensive. That's incredibly expensive. I didn't want to deal with them because so I asked them, how much money you got behind this? Right? And they're like, oh, we want to raise money to sell this thing. Right? Highly competitive lane, they're super risky. Good luck raising the money for it. And so I refused to go with it. I gave them my opinion about what they were doing, and I declined to consult further with them on it. Just because what would happen is I knew it would go nowhere. They would keep paying me to consult for them on a product that they would have a hard time getting investors for. And eventually they'd ask me to find them investors.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to, and I would not refer people I know to this.
Right.
They're super high risk. This is not something that, that's one of those things where it's like, they can't do the product. And I'm going to say, I was telling them you should figure out who it's for, because how are you going to brand it? How are you going to do that? So figuring out who a product is for after the product exists is tough. Okay. Easy to do is figure out groups of people that are buying stuff. Let's talk about common markets. A common market right now are baby boomers who are at or near retirement.
Oh,
that's a very common market that's out there right now. They have very, very specific needs that can be addressed in multiple areas. Okay, let's talk about another market. People reaching middle age, those 40 and over, or those 50 and over.
Right.
Okay, they have specific pains in different areas. So let's talk about one of their pains. And one of their pains is obesity. or just generally being in really bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But what are the advantages to people over 40 when marketing to them? Okay. Some advantages
Income.
is, well, one advantage is they have very distinct pains. Okay. To be addressed. That's one advantage. The great advantage is that many of them, a decent percentage of them, are established in their careers. If you're not established in your career by your mid 40s, you're never going to get established in your career.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you're not established in your career by your mid 40s, it means you changed careers late in life and are starting over again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Let's say that you're a postal worker may be a bad example because that's kind of going away. But traditionally, let's say that you entered into postal work at like age 20 something. By age 44, should you be in a pretty good spot with the postal service?
Yep. 20 years later.
You will be. Okay? No matter how crappy you were. If you're still with them, you're going to be in something cushy. You're going to be that dude riding that public servant job, right? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like Quentin, and where you work, a person who's been there for 24 years, would they be in a pretty cushy spot by then? If they've been there the whole time? For sure. A person works in an accounting firm for 20 years. Are they going to be in a good spot?
Could be.
Right? Okay. So those who are not going to be in good spots are those people working like, service jobs. Like a person
Mm-hmm.
who started off at like, a barista at Starbucks. 20 years later, I've seen people in Starbucks 20 years later who are still baristas.
Damn.
Because they didn't have any drive to go further. That's why I'm saying not all people will be in a good spot, but most will.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Most people in Starbucks for 20 plus years will have done something with their career. Okay? Dude, you can even work at Target for 20 years and be something decent.
Later.
Okay? So what I'm saying is that you're at a point where your purchasing power is there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're selling a product that's cheap enough, it doesn't take much purchasing power. So like
Yeah.
a meal prep product, definitely, like, you're selling the course for like $60, $50, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That person can afford it. Now, a person in their 20s may not prioritize themselves that way.
Mm-hmm.
Their life may be revolving around trying to buy a house still, or trying to save money for college, trying to save money for their kids' braces. A person in their 40s is going to be spending money on themselves now.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm saying you analyze markets first to figure out, okay, who's the best people to sell to?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what do they want? What do they need? Actually, not really what they want. What do they need?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, there's a whole bunch of people at all ages who are in bad shape. Americans as a whole are getting. We talked about that earlier in this thing. Americans are in the worst shape that we've ever seen them in. And what's crazy is that there have never been more people online showing off their bodies. Right? Instagram, social media is jam-packed, full of fitness influencers, right? Tons and tons of people showing off their builds online. And so many people on Instagram are just out there like, telling you how to do this, how to do that. They're all in great shape, right? But the reason why there seems to be so many of them is that we've given the entire world a platform to share stuff.
True.
Okay. Who is not sharing their how to get in great shape is all the out of shape people. Okay, so like for every one person on Instagram showing you how to get washboard abs, there is a number that I don't know what the number is. How many, for every one person with a six pack on Instagram, how many people don't have one?
Oh, 10 to
More than
1.
10. More than 10.
Crazy number. I mean, like,
More than
it's a
10.
crazy number. That
Mm-hmm.
guy with six pack abs is the outlier. He's the freak. The normal American is the guy with a keg.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the reality of regular people. Okay, so even though we see thousands of them online looking beautiful, They are like the single percent.
Minority.
Everybody else is not like that. Okay, that's the thing. So there's never been a better time to tell them to share with Americans how to get results. It all becomes a matter of how to effectively reach out to them, let them know what you got, and frame your product as having the value needed for them to buy it.
Mm.
That's the easy. That's all it really is. Okay, so yeah, so I would recommend that you look deeply into a digital solution, right? Now the $100,000 home meal prep thing.
Mm.
Okay, you know, one thing. I mean, you can look together to putting together a group, right? That's the one thing that I think that we don't do. We don't look to create partnerships,
Mm.
right? If you could, it's really about being the brains behind an operation,
Mm.
right? If you can find like a cousin who's a worker bee who can do the meal prep thing
Mm.
under your direction while you tackle other things that are more cerebral, that may be an idea.
Mm.
Like, do a partnership where, like, because you don't want 90 meals doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're trying to do other things like create a course,
Yeah,
that could get in the way.
it definitely can.
But at the same time, it's like, oh, I don't want to let the opportunity passing by, which is a dangerous way to think. Because
I ain't letting that. That's not. Yeah, that's not
right,
hitting me. Because I look at all of this as like, like I said, like I've already had my veering off areas, right? I know I got to start digitally.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? I know I have to do it with a course. I know a lot of these other things because, like I said, like bringing up the whole life course thing, like that's one of the reasons I stopped because it was like I don't feel right selling this as a course, even though there's a market. It's a faith-based market. You just go after faith-based people, people who believe in God, and it'll go from there. And of course, you can niche down and find other people, but I just didn't feel comfortable selling that because I mean, it could be a course,
well, but think about
but
this, Raymond. Think about this, though. Okay, so let's justify selling that. Okay, but here's the other thing. I think that's a harder sell
mm,
than things with a bigger audience.
like the video creator course.
Video creator course it's easier sell. Um,
Because
nutrition,
everybody,
nutrition
even if you
videos,
don't like God, you Zoom.
yeah, like that's for anybody who wants to create content or who
Mm,
wants to create better content, right? That's what that's for.
yeah.
But the reason why I think that a life coach course is hard to do, it's
Mm,
hard to I think it's hard to sell too. Well, okay, so it's not hard to sell. So okay, so you're uncomfortable with the concept of selling it, right? But
mm,
here's the thing: look at it from a different perspective. Look at it from who am I benefiting? You can provide it in snippets free on social media
right.
and on a website, and you can collect money through views over time. You can do that. Okay,
Right.
but here's the problem: how many people does that benefit? How can you? I mean, there's no controlling how many people you touch with it,
No.
right? If you really want to be able to give maximum numbers of people the benefit of your wisdom, you got to market to them,
Right.
okay? And so if you do core path A, where it's all marketed through social media and it's all free, right?
Mm,
It might take you, let's say that it takes you 10 years to reach 5,000, 10,000 people,
mm,
okay? If you go through the route of a paid course that you market, you could reach 5,000, 10,000 people in the first week,
right.
depending on your marketing budget,
Right.
okay? You benefit more people in a faster amount of time selling it. And really it's
Mm,
about benefiting them. Okay? If you had to sell it to them to get them to benefit from it, well,
mm,
that's money well spent. Okay? It's better to have to sell it to them and benefit thousands of people than to give it free and benefit 20 people.
absolutely.
That's how I look at the
I
market.
totally agree.
But now, at the same time, I would do that later because from a making money perspective, it's a smaller audience. It's a smaller
Right.
audience that, I mean, like, I'd rather make money from the how to make better videos course and funnel profits from that into this other one that might be less profitable, but they have more passion about. But at least now you can do it with throwaway money.
Right.
That's how I look at that.
Got it. I'm like I said, I already not scrapped it, but it was like I said, I already because I already have most of the elements for my course. I think I didn't want to say I veered off. It's just I haven't been present on our Wednesdays to see like where you guys at with Jerome and everybody else what was going on.
Yeah. So
Because I was trying to stay neck and neck with that.
yeah. So it's time to get back in line. So here's the other thing. Okay. So this is one thing that we're looking at. There's different levels of control in terms of making money. Okay. In the digital world. Okay. And I'm including businesses where the bulk of the operation happens through computers and online.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be 100% digital, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because what are the perceived advantages? Why do we want to do things digitally? Like what does, like, if you were a pinch of yum,
Mm-hmm.
what is that? That's essentially that's passive income, right?
Right.
In a way, they still have to publish content. They have a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people coming back to look, right? They still have to
Mm-hmm.
publish content, but they've reached the point where they've hired people to publish the content. So the
Right.
owners of that company, if they don't want to be involved at all, they don't have to be.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, so money coming in, whether you do anything or not, is passive income.
Right.
Other forms of passive income, okay, include residuals from work you've done as an actor. So you did some voiceover work, and you get
Mm-hmm.
checks every month, right? You did a movie, you get checks every month, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's passive income. That's residual income,
Right.
mailbox money. Okay. Other things, I mean, like, what else is like that? A course can be like that because that's all about just you find that niche, you find the amount of money to spend to market it to the right audience, and the money just keeps coming in. Every now and then you have to course correct on that,
Right.
right? But that's still pretty much passive income. What else is passive income? Not digital.
That's not digital. That's passive income.
Real estate.
Real estate.
Music.
Well, yeah, music
Oh,
too, but real estate's the other thing. So music takes talent.
yeah.
Okay, so we're talking about what can I teach somebody to do that takes no talent? Being able to
Real
make money
estate,
from a living.
stocks.
What's that?
Real estate, stocks.
Okay, stocks does take a bit of talent. Okay, so the reason why
Uh,
stocks takes talent is because you got to know what to pick,
true.
and you can lose. Okay,
A lot.
real estate doesn't take much talent. I mean, like, just a brief analysis of each deal is pretty easy to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you have websites, social media, where you make money in one of the 5 ways we talked about, but that takes time, right? That's long game
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Then we have the sale of digital products, okay, which is faster, but still takes a little bit of time because you have to conceptualize these things and you have to start marketing and testing. Okay, there's a bit of investment, not much, doesn't have to be much, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a bit there. Okay, now you've got real estate investment. Okay, that pretty much is just all you need. There is capital.
Mm-hmm.
You need some initial working capital to invest. Okay, because you're going to be buying some rental properties. You start at a smaller scale. At the minimum, you'll need about 25 grand bare minimum. Okay, and the question is, why do you need 25 grand bare minimum? It's because the kind of loans that we use for these transactions have a minimum loan amount of about 75,000.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So with $75,000, if that's the smallest loan that they'll give you, right, means that the smallest property you can buy will be about $100,000. Okay, because you got to put minimum 20% down. Okay. So you can't get any smaller than that. So yes, are there properties in the Midwest selling for $70,000, $50,000? Yes, there are. But you're not going to be able to use a DSCR loan to buy them. Okay. So now you're stuck buying properties at $100,000 and over. Those smaller properties are out of your reach because you can't get a commercial loan small enough to buy those. Okay. That's the reason why. Okay. So really, you need access to about, let's say, $25,000, $30,000 of capital to get into one of these deals.
Yeah.
Okay. If you've got it, you can easily get in and do this. Okay. And at that level, you'll probably make around 600-ish net per month from the deal. So if you really think about that, $30,000 in to make 600 a month is what? A year. $7,200 a year. Right? Is that right? 6 times 12 is 72. Yeah. 600 a month is $7,200 per year. Okay. With an investment of $30,000, what rate of return is that? So let's bring our calculator up again. So I'm bringing the calculator up for everyone else to see. Well, let me share it with you guys too. So we're looking at $7,200 per year is how much you're taking in. Okay. And how much did you put up to be able to get that? You're in for 30. Roughly. 24% rate of return. Okay. So if you had that $30,000 sitting in the bank, you're going to get what for the year? What, like a rinky-dink number, right? The number you're going to get is ridiculously small. So let's take a look at what that is. Let's say rate of return on savings account. Now, this is assuming that you're going for this terrible savings account. Okay. The best, as of February 2026, the best high yield savings account that you can get into will give you between 4 and 5%. National average rate, 0.39% to 0.6%. APY is annual percentage yield. Okay, traditional big bank rate, close to 0.01 to 0.10 APY. Okay. So these are the top high yield savings accounts that are out there. Examples: Open Bank, 4%, 409. 403, Barclays is about 4%. Vero, about 5%. That's just ridiculous. You're talking about 24% versus at best 5, right? And when you're in, let me stop that share. When you're in for 30 grand in one of these deals, did you spend the 30 grand? No, you converted $30,000 of cash into $30,000 of equity is what you've done. You still have the 30 grand. It's equity sitting in your property. Okay. That's what's happening. Okay. And that money you're making, you can find ways to diminish that income to reduce the taxes you're going to pay on it. There's lots of ways to do that in this kind of business. Okay. So the question is, 30 grand, how do you get it? Right? A lot of people out there have it. I don't want to say a lot, but there's people out there who have it, right? Like, okay, so in my instance, if I wanted to do it, how would I do it? Okay. I could utilize cash on hand. Yes. Okay. I could also utilize my company credit because I have that built up already. And we've been trying to get you guys to focus on getting your company credit ready. Okay.
Right.
But how can you, so let's say, how long before your company credit is the point where you can get $30,000 from it? Who knows how long that may take you guys to do. Okay. But I can get you to a point where you can get $10,000 from it in a few months or less. Depends on where a person starts at. Quentin's already there, right? Company credit wise, do you have 10 grand already available company wise?
Plus.
You have 10 plus already, right? We just got to get you to the point where you can apply for another 10 with zero interest. If you can get 10 or more zero interest, right? So think about this. Let's not be greedy. Okay? Find for $30,000, find 6 people to share the deal with. Okay? If you were to be the point person, to find 5 other people, okay? What you can do is you, as point person, you can say, we're all going to put in 5 grand. You're going to invest 5 grand in the company itself. Okay. And for that 5 grand, they get a percentage of the company. You get the larger percentage because you're the point person. You're the brains behind it all. You're putting in 5 and you're getting a bigger chunk than they are. Okay. Because what you're proposing they get into could be extremely profitable. Because what's going to happen is you're going to reinvest earnings from their first to do the next one. Okay. But can you find 5 people with either 5 or 6 grand each that want to go into something that can earn them 25% a year?
Yes.
Theoretically, if that is the number that you can generate, you can even take that off a credit card with interest, 17% interest on a credit card. You can invest. Remember that you're looking. I mean that's that's arbitrage. Like, borrowing money from one source at 17% to put it into another source where you earn 24. The spread is where you make your money, right? And it's making money. It's worth it. But you want to borrow it at 0. If you can borrow the money at 0, put it into the deal and make 24. That's an incredible spread, right?
Mm.
Using cash on hand is even more impactful. Because cash on hand sitting in the bank, what's happening to it? It's actually losing purchasing power. So converting it from cash on hand into equity that's earning 24% is saving it from losing money. So you're earning way more than 24 on that.
Mm.
So if you've got cash on hand to put in, do it. If you don't have cash on hand to do it, well, try to figure out a way to get your credit where you have access to 0% interest on cards. Get the money from that. Repay small amounts as you go along, and then whatever balance is left on that account when the 0% period is about to end, transfer it to another 0 card and let it ride again. You just got to protect your credit. You have to keep that credit good. And that's the thing now. So, have you guys had, I'm in my 50s, okay? I've had challenges in the past with credit. I went through a stupid phase. Okay. Actually, mine was a too smart for my own good phase. Right? I pushed it too close to the edge of the envelope and got in trouble. Okay? That's way behind me now. Okay? So I learned from that and now I teach this kind of crap. Okay? So if you've been in trouble with credit before and you've gotten past it, or if you're still getting past it, that's really important, is to get past it and stay past it. There's no reason to ever sacrifice your credit. And people will tell you different. I had a really good friend a long time ago who, I was doing a business where things were getting tight, right? I was trying to find alternative ways to get some cash flow going. And their advice to me was to leverage my credit to just keep living off it And then I said, well, there's no guarantee that this is going to turn around. Whatever I'm
Yeah.
putting into this, there's a chance I'm going to lose it. And he just said, yes, if it goes bad, just BK and start over. No, that's not something you want to do. That's not advice you
Yeah.
should ever get from a financial professional. You should never be told to live on your credit, and oh no, and if they tell you no, it'll be okay. The business will turn around before you go too deep. There's no guarantee it ever will.
Right.
Don't put yourself in that position. That truly is an emergency situation. That's not an emergency, right? I'd have been better off getting a part-time job than doing that, right? Cutting down bills, but anyway. So that's the different things you can do. You can take the long game strategy, and you should in the end you should have a combination of it all, right? So there's long game strategy. Then there's there's the courses, and then there's things like real estate investments like that. And what we're talking about is not investing in California real estate. We're talking about investing in real estate that creates positive cash flow from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, investing in areas of the country where the property values are lower. Okay, investing in other parts of the country where the laws tend to favor landlords over renters.
Mm.
That's what we're talking about, and we're going to delve deeper into that. But there's ways that you can do it now. So those of you guys out there who I'm talking to are people in a position to help yourselves. There's a lot of people out there who are not in that position yet. Okay, when I say you're not in a position to help yourself, this is you. If you're not in a position to help yourself yet, you don't have any reasonable cash reserve. Okay, you have substandard credit. Okay, and you're living essentially paycheck to paycheck. If you're in that boat, you got to fix those things first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's probably some sort of budgetary issue. Your spending isn't where it needs to be. Okay, there's a reason why you're in that boat right now. Could possibly be because you're 24 years old. I don't know who's looking at this, right? But if you're in your 40s and that describes you, well, you got to make some significant changes in your attitude. The way you're living got you there. It's keeping you there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I don't care what you say. I mean, like you can say something like, "Oh, I mean, the economy's been up against you." There's changes that you haven't made yet that are holding you there. Okay, but if you don't have any reserves at all, but you got really good credit, then there's something that you can do here. If you have moderate credit, but you have some capital built up, there's something you can do here. Okay, it's just got to be in a position to help yourself. Okay,
Right.
and you have to find ways to get creative in some instances. Don't have a lot of resources helping you out? Well, 5 of you guys together could have the resources that one person may have, and you jump into the first deal. All right, and then you go from there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so guys, so that's one thing we're looking at. I mean, it's on Wednesday we'll discuss. So Wednesday's not for everybody out there. We're talking for us here. We do other sessions. So yeah, we'll look on. Actually, hold on. We'll talk a little bit more about that off recording. So what time we got now?
Right.
It's about that time. So that's where we're going to cut this one. Wow, we talked about business today.
Well, we always gonna get to this business.
There's sometimes
don't think we're just gonna be talking about conspiracies.
I know, right? But conspiracies are so much more fun sometimes.
Yeah. It was fun, but yeah, we gotta get down to business.
Dude, okay, so here's a conspiracy thing. This is before we sign. I'll tell you this. So I had internet problems a little bit ago, right? You guys remember that? I had the internet, intermittent internet. So finally, I got them to send me a guy to check out my locale because it was happening everywhere. But he helped me figure out there was something wrong. In addition to the general outages, there was something wrong at my location. He got me past that. And we were talking the whole time, right? A very friendly dude wanted to share a lot of stuff with me. He was telling me about going to people's houses where the people they wanted him to check in their walls for hidden cameras. He get there, and he said that he would get there, and the walls are full of holes with tissue paper stuck inside them. Okay, so there's people who are drilling holes in their walls so they can look behind them because they think that their houses are wired up. They think that there's hidden cameras and listening devices in the
All right.
They're
All right, El Chapo.
They're punching holes in their walls looking for stuff, and they don't find one. Instead of fixing the hole like they should, because they don't have any idea how to fix it, they're just stuffing tissue paper inside these holes that they put in their walls. And so, yeah, he said that he's walked in the houses where he's seen that, and then they're asking him to do tests for hidden cameras and hidden microphones. Yeah, people live in that.
Somebody got something to hide.
They're living those conspiracy theories. People who think that helicopters are following them. Dude,
Yeah.
I wish I was important enough for a helicopter to follow me.
Helicopter was following me.
You know, you know that if there's actual government surveillance happening to you, okay, one of two things have happened. Either you've seen something you should not have seen,
okay, did something,
or you're doing something you shouldn't be doing. And if you're doing something you shouldn't be doing and that's happening, you're making money from it.
Right.
Okay. Nobody has black helicopters following them that isn't running some sort of major scam that's making them millions of dollars.
Exactly.
Okay? So if you're some average schmo out there, here's this message. Nobody's watching you. Nobody's listening to you. Nobody's following you. Okay? It takes a lot for that to happen. Okay? So for those people that this cable guy visited who thinks that they're being spied on, I got news for them. They're not. And they're probably, and also here's other news. You're probably not going to get your rental deposit back.
Nope.
Patch the moles.
After putting all those holes.
Patch the moles, you might get it.
Anyway, so we're going to sign off now. Raymond, hold on for 1 sec while we, after this, so we can talk real quick about Wednesday. But hey, so that's it for us for tonight. Digenet signing off. I'm Armand.
It's Raylo, man.
You take him over here.
Y'all have a good night.